What's good? What's happening? Welcome back. Glad to be back here with all y'all beautiful people. We had a 2-week layover, so I hope you use that time in a productive way. And I hope you got to fortify your knowledge with continuous reading and books, podcasts, and all that growth work that we promote all the time, and had a little bit of time for yourself. So this week we're back on it. We packed it with lots and lots of we'll call it game for the sake of tonight. And we're gonna wrap up our 15 commitments book, and we're gonna be moving on to the next. So we got a dope ass class for tonight, and we ready to get it cracking. All right. So your next move, that's the title of tonight's class, and let's get into it. First slide. Back to discussing the science of change. What that means is that science is individual to you. I'm not gonna get up here and say this is how you change, because I'd be bullshitting. It's like we talked about last time. Change is the only constant in your life from now until the day you die. You are changing every single day in some shape, form, or fashion. Whether you want to, whether you acknowledge it, or whether you see it, or whether you don't, it's happening. I don't know the particulars, so don't quote me on it. But did you know you get literally a new body every, 2 years? You get a completely new set of your body is changing cells and replenishing and replacing body parts on a constant basis. You're not even the same human that you were. It's hard to tell, because if you had a scar on your hand, most of the time you'll still retain that same scar, or an imprint, or some kind of version of where that scar used to be, but you're constantly changing. So the science is you becoming the scientist and you studying change for you, being obsessed with change. So it starts with all the things we talked about in this class. Remember, we say, know thyself. How can you change anything if you don't know yourself? So you first got to know yourself. All of it. Your little idiosyncrasies, your weaknesses, your strengths, your shadows, your dark sides, your freaky sides, the square sides of you, the nerdy parts of you, the gangster parts of you, all of you. And don't run from none of it. Because if you run from it and hide it, that's what pops out on you when you least expect it. And you can't create a structure around how to grow, how to behave, how to perform, and how to change if you're running from parts of yourself. So you have to be obsessed with change. The science of it. How does it work? How can this person change over here and this person stays the same their whole life? How come I can go back to the hood that I left 40 years ago and there's 1 or 2 people that's still on the block? Still there. How is it? And how is that one person, how did he make it out? Or how did she make it out the hood? I was reading about a woman who grew up in prostitution. Not a prostitute, but her mother was a prostitute. And her mother would bring all her work to the house. And she was a little girl, and she just had her room was next to her mother's room. So she heard all the shit. And her mom was a prostitute. And that's how they paid the bills. They managed to get through life, school, but that's how she grew up. And What's the odds of her becoming a prostitute too when she gets older? High? Yeah. Well, what she did is she's happily married with 5 children. Square as you could be. Right? She ran to the other side of that. Right? Because in her particular case, she used that as fuel to get her to the other side. Now, it don't always happen like that, right? Why? Have you thought about why? We're not going to get into why tonight, but I'm saying the reason why you guys come to class and the reason why you guys watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts and do all of this stuff around wanting to grow who you are and develop who you are as a person, as a business person, an entrepreneur, it revolves around change. So in the pursuit of the knowledge, you have to also understand what can I do to apply this? What can I do to apply that to make sure that this gets into my routine, to my daily? So this science isn't about me starting to teach this class about how to change. This is a whole study within itself. It's saying I need you to take that on your journey for the rest of your life to understand how can you, the individual, change. I've read tons of books on change. I've listened to tons of seminars on change. But a lot of them books and seminars don't know Courtney. So maybe 20% will work, and then I get stuck. Or I go back to what I was doing before. Another 10% over here will work, but I fuck it up. Or I fall back, or I take 10 steps back trying to follow this one. Wasn't until I was able to really accept who I am, understand, here are the things, the negotiables with me, this is where I don't go. Don't ever take me there. Leave that one alone. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this is some tips. This is a few tips, right? Some change based on who you are will require simple avoidance. It's not cheating. It's avoidance. Hey, I'm 0 for 97 in this situation in terms of having self-control. So from now on, I'm going to stay away. I'm 0 for 97.
You know what? I'm going home.
I'm 0 for 97. So it's a wrap anymore for me trying to battle that. I just stay away. I stay away. Now, can anybody tell me what's better? Avoidance, sabotage, will, purpose, drive. Which one of these can we put can we put these things in priority? Can somebody have a microphone? Go ahead.
Purpose.
Purpose is one, right? I agree. What's next? What's after purpose? Drive, sabotage,
Drive next.
avoidance. Drive, purpose, then drive.
Avoidance.
Avoidance,
And you said sabotage and what?
will, personal will.
Shit, I feel like that's last.
Now, here's the thing. Can they all be in play with you? Is that okay? Say will is, say if they were in percentage-wise, will has 3%. It's 3%. Meaning if you're trying to lift something that's 100 pounds, 3 of those pounds, will can be involved. Will is not the long game. Will is the short game. But can will get you out the room if you need to? then something else got to carry you, because will can't carry you all the way, right? So everything is in play at times. Purpose has to be your driver, though, because if you're relying on any other thing than purpose, then it's a much tougher, short-listed way to change. Because there's a saying here, offense, being offensive player, not a defensive player, right? Defensive is saying what you don't do. I don't do that. 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 That's weak. You know how many people I done talked into doing shit that they don't do?
That sounds real cold, the way you just said.
I don't do that, man. We ain't do that. I don't do that. You understand that? That's weak. If you're thinking about what you don't do versus what your purpose is, that's higher leverage. It's bigger leverage. So we're going to talk about mass times velocity equals momentum. Now, this is another tool that you can use. Mass times velocity equals momentum. That's why if you ever hear about 30-day challenges, right? It's a 30-day challenge. What happens after the 30 days? So a lot of times your body, mind, soul, spirit collapses. Whew, that 30 days over. You don't see that gym to 300 days, right? Because your body a lot of times feels like it's in relax mode. It goes into relax mode, right? If you look at that particular thing as a lifestyle, it's a lifelong game. It's a life challenge, right? The goal is to build momentum. It's hard to put the brakes on a train after a train is going a certain speed. When you hit the brakes on a train, you have to give yourself a distance of about a half a mile based on the momentum. And momentum is useful for you because if you built up a routine of doing anything, eating healthy, working out, meditating, praying, whatever that healthy routine is, eating a particular way, not eating sugar, whatever those things are, if you built a healthy routine and you have some momentum there, when you mess up, you feel it. Oh man, I feel weird. Because the momentum's going this way and you just took it another direction. Momentum allows you to get back on your routine before the train stops. That's why it's good to get into a rhythm. That's why mass times velocity. When you pick up steam, then that's where your momentum builds. Momentum is one of your keys to change. Mass times velocity equals momentum. Make sense? Want some of that?
Okay, yeah. This is actually way more important for those of you at home, those of you in-house. Anything you're trying to get done, if you don't know how to measure and see your momentum, then your press secretary is driving, you're not. It's your ego talking. Weight loss is not about working out. It's not about dieting. It's about momentum. Those things, if they fall within momentum, if you start eating a certain kind of way, if you get in the momentum of eating a certain kind of way, you have to protect that momentum over everything. If that momentum is damaged, it could take you a year to recatch that momentum again. Momentum takes so much energy and so much force and so much out of you, so much psychologically, it wears your brain out. And when you finally get that momentum, if you just protect it, it's like once something's going and you just protect that momentum and maintain it, you can get to your goals. This is business, this is weight loss, this is anything you're trying to build. Momentum is a necessary. You got to be able to see the momentum. If you don't see the momentum, you will start banking on expertise, hard work, luck, all kind of like stories your brain try to tell you. But even if somebody talks to you about business, the way you know they're lying, you can see their momentum and go, you don't have that momentum. I don't care what you just said to me. I can't trust you. Momentum is like a walking truth. If you say you're trying to do something and your momentum doesn't match what you're saying, just know your press secretary is lying to you.
Momentum. Momentum is how you
It's everything.
It's everything. So have you ever thought about once a spaceship exits the atmosphere, right? It's the gravity of our atmosphere that keeps us here, right? So in order for us to get out of our atmosphere, we need a big explosion. We need a lot of fire. So that's why we have rockets to get us out of Earth's atmosphere, because the pressure, the gravity forces everything to the ground, right? So we need a boom, we need an explosion to push us out of the atmosphere. And it's the hardest thing for humans to figure out, but we manage to figure most of it out. Once we get out of Earth's atmosphere, you're in a different environment. You don't need explosions or fire anymore. All you need is you can blow a small blow, psst, and you can move. So that's why once they get out of the atmosphere, all of that fire making shit breaks off and goes back into the earth. And now you just have what you needed in the first place in a small capsule. And all they do is push out little spurts of air to make them go everywhere they want to go. And the illustration in that is this. Once you build momentum, you've done all the hard work. The explosion. You made it all happen. You pushed and sacrificed and hard. The discipline, the consistency over time you built, and now you have momentum. Any direction you want to go, it's a small nudge now.
That's so powerful.
Small nudge. That's why people up at the top, it looks easy.
Yep.
How can Elon Musk do 3-4 businesses the same? Because he's already built so much momentum that he can make a small tap to this direction and go so far.
Yep.
We're struggling here on Earth, and we're doing all this hard work on Earth, and as soon as we're just jumping up and down on Earth. And when it gets hard, thank you for not pausing me.
I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. It's
When it gets tough,
no to me.
when it gets difficult, when times get difficult, we go back down to earth. So hard. So it's supposed to be hard. The system's designed to be hard. Difficult. The goal is you build the momentum. And this is even cold. When you match momentum with inertia, the game becomes like the Matrix. It's easy. So you have to understand this game. That's why when you decide you want to make changes in your life, you have to understand the beginning stage of it needs explosion. You're going to have to sweat it. You're going to have to sweat. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to cry. You're going to do all the shit because that is your explosion. That doesn't last forever. That's why you use all the tools, whatever you got. You got to know yourself, though. Because if you don't know your mass, meaning knowing who you are, you don't know your velocity, where you're going, how fast you're going. If you don't know those two things, you don't even know what momentum is. You don't know what your momentum is.
This is really important. This is everything.
Yeah. So this is crucial stuff. So if you're talking change, this is one major tool to help you change. Gonna be tough. We going through some changes right now in our organization. Like I said, we have breaching integrity, and we holding the standard, and it's not fun. So what? So what? Because we got to get to this place, and then once we get to the place, now it won't be as hard. Now we're in the place where we got momentum. Now we can make choices and decisions and enjoy a little bit more and laugh a little bit more, but we had to get to the standard. Build our mass and get our velocity going. So any change you want to make requires this.
Huge.
So what's considered mass? So you was just about to ask that? Dope. Mass comes in all different sizes, right? Small amounts of mass, this amount of mass. Here's a few examples. A woman started a multi-million-dollar business. They asked, how did you do it? She said, I was married to my husband. I walked in one day and I said, hey, I need $10. And the husband said, what for? And she said, I looked at him like, I ain't never asking you for no money again. I'm gonna go make my own. That's a true story. That was her mass that she needed. That was her mass. Growing up poor and building resentment and anger and tension, and one day you're building up mass. Pain from being poor builds up mass. There's different types of ways to get mass. Mass is when you got emotional leverage. I've had it. Mass can also be, I took a picture and somebody showed me the picture and I didn't realize I was that fucking big. And I said, I can't, I gotta do better. That's mass. There's different versions of mass. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, so is mass like the stories we tell ourselves?
Mass can be the story, the emotional explosion which is in the form of a story that you can tell yourself. And the question is, do the stories have to be true? You just got to believe them. As long as you believe them, and as long as you are equipped with the tools to be able to interchange them when you need them, and or have a great feedback loop that can tell you, hey, that story old, it's decrepit, it's time to change it. How do you know when your story is old? When your momentum is dried up. What's going on? I made this amount this year, and last year I made the same amount. And I'm in this loop. What's going on? Let's go check your mass. It's that story. Let's toss it. Let's add a new one. What's a new one? New story. Now, let's talk about mass. This shit is so big. Oh my God. Okay. Why do you think entrepreneurs that you perceive as being successful? So cold. Why do you think entrepreneurs who you perceive as being successful, when you ask them to tell their story or their why, it's usually bigger than them? Why? Because that's a bigger amount of mass. If it's just about me, my mass is this big. The explosion won't be big enough to build the momentum I need to build a giant company.
Come on, bro. You killing the game.
So that's why we do it for our people. I can't just make money for myself. That's easy. That's that's too weak. I need something that's bigger than me. This affects our culture as a whole. So that means the mass in my story is like this. Got it covered. Generational, ancestral, cultural. It don't get big. The mass don't get much bigger. So if you just want to be rich because you want a ball and that you ain't figure out why your shit ain't popped off because your mass is this big. Your little ass story that just involves you, that ain't shit.
Your little ass story.
That's this. Your mass is too small. Once it becomes bigger than you,
Come on, Court.
now the multiplication and the momentum part happens and people can feel it. They can want to be a part of it. Let's talk more about mass. Think about it. Anybody ever been in a shootout? Okay. So we got some hands here. I know we got people from the hood here. This is too fresh for you. I don't want no PTSD pop off. If you've ever been in a shootout and you in a situation where bullets are flying past you, little bullets, you can hear it whiz past you. You hear it. It's an eerie feeling. It's an eerie sound, right? But since the mass of the bullets are small, you can hear it. You can just hear it. Once bullets achieve a certain size, a certain mass, even if the bullet misses you, you can still die. Because the mass of the bullet and the velocity of the bullet will pull you in. So when people drop bombs in certain areas or missiles in certain areas, like in war, because the mass of the warhead is so big that even if it just hits in a certain vicinity, it will still get casualties. Because the mass and velocity is so large and so fast. So how does this apply to us? Is when you have an idea in a story that's so large and you putting lots of energy and moving it, you're going to attract so many more people just in your pathway to help you achieve it, and want to be a part of it, and wants to match their story with yours, sees a value, a win-win, that y'all can get it together, and that's how things grow and build. This is science. It's a cold game.
It's invisible, it's real.
So a lot of times when we are stuck, no mass, little tiny bits of mass. You might be you smart enough to go do that on your own. But big shit, big stories that you believe. Any questions on that one?
Are you dropping bombs?
Thank you, bro. Next slide.
Can I ask a question about velocity? Sorry, maybe I missed it. Can you
Go back to the slide.
Can you just go back to that again? Can you repeat how you framed that up again?
Velocity?
Yep.
So, thank you. So, velocity is how fast you're going. How fast are you going? Meaning, how hard are you going after it? If you casual about your shit, even if you have a large mass, you got big dreams, but you just every once in a while you going after it. Or you think the universe is just going to drop it off to you. So you just chilling, waiting for that to happen. Or in your mind, you need work-life balance, so you're only going to do this much and not do this and you on vacation more than you working.
Come on.
That shit is not going to happen. There's no momentum there. Now, here's another question. Can you be a victim and have velocity at the same time? Fuck no.
Come on, Court.
Can you be moving forward and moving backward at the same time?
So the reason why I say yes is because I feel like that's kind of what happened with the whole social justice scene. There was a whole bunch of people that were victims or framing themselves that way, that were getting money thrown at them, that were given opportunities that weren't deserved, that picked up velocity but lost momentum, but they were like, you know what I'm saying? So like
No.
they picked up all this speed, this recognition, all this notoriety, all this social credit in their communities, just to like fall flat because, you know what I'm saying? So
So,
I feel
yes.
like not long term, no, but I do feel like you can get velocity at being a punk.
Well, that's what happens when you're a victim. That's what happens when you're a victim. There's no real mass there. That's like me shooting a. You ever had Nerf gun fights? That's like me shooting a Nerf gun at you. It looks the same, it feels the same, the speed looks the same, but if you sit there long enough, what's going to happen is exactly what happened. Simple science. There's no mass behind that. That's Charlotte. That's victim mentality. You can't have velocity, meaning you can't move forward and move backward at the same time. Name any time, any movement that was a victim-based movement won in the end. It never happened. So you can be a squeaky wheel. You can be a squeaky wheel and cry and be good at manipulating the system and talking. Talking, that's talking. It's not real velocity. Velocity is a bullet moving fast, going after it, waking up, going after it. Every day. It's your mission. And when that's your mission, it's hard to stop that. It's hard to stop it.
Okay, take 5. Reclaim your time on me. Because put this camera on me because I want this to be because I want to talk about this. This is going to be my opening speech. I hate you so much sometimes. Because I promise you, it's like, these don't just, like, I had a big, like, air balloon to come to class with. Now I got a little small water balloon I'm about to throw it. He took all the mass out of my little balloon. I'm going to say something that's going to make some people online, it's going to hit you in the chest. Now, I'm talking to black folks now. It's not going to make you feel comfortable with what I'm going to say. Because when I say it to myself, I don't feel comfortable. But it's directly in this line of this. Our trauma will destroy our dreams. So the other day I was going to the bank to put some money in the bank. And me and this white guy kind of met at the same point to get to the last ATM, right? Now, mind you, I was slightly in front of him, right? But I thought to myself, what if he was slightly in front of me? Would I said, no, you go ahead? Or would I said, I'm a black dude, this white dude? Like, would I allow my trauma of my past to change my relationship to the moment, ultimately destroying the moment? What happens with a lot of black folks is we walk around with so much of we try to make the future repair the past. So when we're trying to move forward aggressively, we got to realize when we're moving forward to be a rebuild. So I'm motivated by black people. I get up every morning going, I go to East Oakland, and that's just pouring fuel, and my mass is expanding every time I go to East Oakland. Mm-hmm. But I can't fix the past with my future. I got to think about what does the future look like that's different than the past. It's not rectifying, repairing, connecting, right? Otherwise, I'll destroy my velocity because my strategy is to, I want white people to do this. I want them to give me this. They need to write this. They need to fix this. When ultimately, that is not the future. That's you taking your mask, victimizing it, and almost turning it on itself and destroying your capabilities. Because when you're moving through public, it's important that somebody can't steal your beauty, the God in you. It can't steal. Like, for example, when I show mannerism on the streets, it's not for you, it's for me. But if I get to a point I'm around white people and I shut down my mannerisms, right? Then the story in my head is destroying me and destroying my relationship with the people surrounding me. Because every white person walk by you, a lot of white people walk by you, they're just neutral. They don't really give a shit about you. They don't hate you. They're just neutral. And your ability to form relationships that can grow in your interests is always being presented. But are you telling yourself a story when those moments arrive? Make it simple. You date this one dude. He ain't shit. He just never was shit. He was abusive to you, everything. You break up with him, but every dude after that, you hold him accountable. On top of that, let's say you meet another dude and he's slightly flawed, but he's capable of being the greatest father to the kids ever. But he has some of the characteristics that the old dude had. Instead of you working through them, you don't even restart this as a new possibility. You instantly cut them loose because why? It reminds you of your historical past, and you're saying to yourself, I'm never going to let this happen, or I deserve better. All these conversations you have, and you're poisoning all your future dates. So black people, as we're building and growing and trying to build stuff, a lot of these conversations we're having, you can't dig them cats up. And like, even with like defund the police, right? You know, most of the police that do the worst shit are gone. Like they've been dead a long time ago. If you were to say percentage-wise, what's the percentage of police are actually trying to do the best they can versus they ain't shit? It's probably like 90 to 10. But you go back in the 60s and 70s, it might have been 80, the ratio might have been totally flipped. So your brain is still locked on that story. Cop pulls you over for something shitty innocent. You go into instant form of, all right, I got to battle with you. And this dude's like, okay, I got to protect myself. And then you get the chance to write a story on, yeah, he handled me, put me in handcuffs and did all these other things. It's like, yeah, but it's because you position yourself for that story, which means you created the wrong story for yourself today. As opposed to, how do I move on this story moving forward? So velocity is not just a linear concept. It definitely requires strategy to maintain it. Because if you trip it up by some story in your head, victimization, you can literally take off like that bullet, but for whatever reason, it just keeps dropping, or it will just break into shatters in pieces and never hit its target, because the stories you tell yourself, you're trying to take the trauma of your past and make your future repair it. It doesn't work that way.
Whew. So, we was talking about spanking the other day. My sisters had me over for my birthday, and they knew what to do. Watermelon, peach cobbler, right?
Come on now.
So we got on the subject of spanking. So my little niece, my sister's granddaughter, she spits on people, like Tupac, right? So I laugh and I'm like, send me, because they have a picture of her doing it, and I'm like, that's the new Tupac picture. I want to put it in my. So they mad at me. So they're like, no, we spank. So we had a good discussion about spanking. So I'm like, don't spank my baby. Leave my baby alone. Don't spank my baby. And so we got into this philosophical discussion. Spanking essentially is the intention of spanking is to catapult change, right? No? So if you do something wrong and I spank you, my intention is for you to continue doing it? Go ahead.
In my opinion, oh, this is loud, sorry. In my opinion, spanking is a snapshot action. It's to bring a certain line of something to an immediate stop so I can get your attention.
Wait, what's the something?
It could be anything. You could be spitting, you could be crossing the street, running in the street, you could be writing on the walls. Like, spanking is to create an immediate stop to a line of behavior so that I can then impart the lesson. But the spanking, the lesson.
So is stop change?
Stop is stop so we can get to change. I can't take you from writing on the wall to change. I have to get you to stop first so that I can then take you to the change. And sometimes the get you to stop can be the spank.
So if you're writing on the wall and you stop writing on the wall, is that change?
I have your attention for change.
No, let's do. If you're writing on the wall, Kaja, and you, if somebody, your daughter's writing on the wall, you spanked her, and you said what? Were you the type of spanker that said a word every swing?
No,
Don't you
No.
ever do this again?
no.
But so you spanked her for the desire for her to stop. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, is writing on the wall and stop writing on the wall, is that a change?
Yes.
Okay, that's my point.
That's it.
That's my point. So the spanking, the intention of the spanking is for the desire of a change, even if it's a stop.
Okay.
You're second your story. You're not seeing the, you always see the strategy.
There
You
you
see the
go.
story.
There you go.
Okay.
You see a story,
you
not
got
the
it.
strategy.
Think you got it. Right? So even if it's not to go in a different direction, if you go from spanking to not spanking, that's a change. So back to what we're saying. The whole goal in our minds growing up when we spanked or got spanked was for desire to change a particular behavior, to stop doing something, to start doing something, anything. It's the change. Now, that is for physiological change. Spanking is physiological, meaning that is the same type of training they give to animals. So you can train a dolphin to jump through a fucking hoop, or an elephant to do a trick, or a tiger, or any animal. You can train them to do any kind of tricks or train them to behave a certain way and change their natural behavior through pain. Let's go next slide. Through pain, right? Also, pleasure. Those are physiological things. Here's a treat if you do good. If you do bad, here's a swipe. Those are your choices with pain. So us growing up, when we got spanked, and anybody can tell me you could disagree with me if you're wrong, but when we got spanked, our parents wanted us to stop doing something. Right? So that's a change of behavior. Now that is the lowest form of changing. Abuse, hitting. It's the lowest form. It's the same form that they give with animals. Same form they gave with slaves. It's the easiest, laziest way to get somebody to change. It's the truth. Scientifically, it's the truth. I don't feel like explaining shit. Did you lie? I'm popping you where you lied at, in the mouth. Bang. Don't lie again. You got caught stealing? Whooping. You didn't take out the garbage can? Whooping. That is the easiest, laziest way to train. Same way they train animals. Now, what we didn't get, most of us did not get the psychological tools to learn how to change. The psychological tools. And the psychological tools can be way more powerful than the physical ones. Just takes more thinking ability, critical thinking, and the ability to communicate in an influential and manipulative way that can make someone think and stop without having to touch them. It's true.
Come on.
So a lot of times, since we didn't get it, we ain't got it to give. So all we got is these hands. That's all we got. All we got is these hands, so you're going to get it. So as an adult, guess what we walk around with? How many people think that they got spanked and they cool? They okay. They turned out okay. Truth? Nobody? All right. Anybody out there?
Not
Any
without.
hands out there? I got a whooping and I turned out okay. Because most of us are not okay. It's just in such deeper levels down in our governing beliefs, in our self-esteem, in our self-value, that we were able to change some of the behaviors, but it affected how we think and how we live and how we view ourselves. And it creates guilt in you, which means anytime you fuck up, you expect to get what? Some kind of physical punishment. And when it doesn't happen, then what? It creates guilt. Because we don't realize that that's what's happening to us. Huh?
I was just asking, are you going to go over the psychological tools today, or
Not
just
today,
have it
but
on
we
that?
can add that. If you, we
Please.
can, yeah.
I would truly. I was just having this conversation with my daughter before I came here about like change and like how to create that. So she's going into high school and she's picking up patterns from the different houses that she frequents, moms, dads, grandmas, and there's a pattern that she presents frequently that doesn't serve her future. And then there's the new story that I'm trying to get her on board. And like, I don't spank, though it's deep inside of me, but I don't. But it's just like, trying to get a teenager to be able to have autonomy and make decisions where they feel like, even if they don't understand it, it behooves them to listen to protect their future. Like it's such a more challenging thing. Like, then you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like my tools were just like, do what I said because I said it, or I'm gonna knock you out. Like that's what my parents told me. And so I'm like trying to partner with her, and it's just like it's not landing, but I don't know what to do to get her to do these things. And so I would beyond appreciate a class on that.
Yeah. So we're going to go over some psychological tools, but let's preface it with this: teenage years, hard as fuck. Period. I raised two teenage boys, so you're gonna think that most of the shit you say ain't landing, not realizing that a lot of the shit you say did land. But they teenagers and they going through raging hormones. Hard to listen. You know what I'm saying? And they just starting to get their adult bodies and they feeling themselves. So there's a lot of other variables to it. But yes, now, one psychological tool. Pain and pleasure is a tool that's been used physiologically to us. Other cultures know they use pain and pleasure as mental, psychological tools more than they do physical. That's why we have a much weaker ability to maneuver through influence, manipulation, and emotions as adults. Because we never practice like they practice. It's shut up or I'm going to slap you. Well, why is that? Don't ask me why. Well, why do I got to do that? Because I said so. Well, you've grown up with because I said so's for 18 years. You have no tools to critical think.
Come on now. Tear the room apart.
You got no tools. You ain't got no tools. So now, as an adult, you got to get a job, and now you got to watch out from being manipulated and influenced, and you ain't got the tools. So all you have to, your only strength is if things ever got physical. Well, our world, that rarely, if ever, happens. That's why we getting our asses whooped mentally. So pain and pleasure can be tools that we can use as leverage tools to change. We use them the same way that they were used to us and to animals and to slaves. We use them on ourselves. We use pain and pleasure instead of it using us, because right now it uses us. If you stuck scrolling on Instagram or chasing after somebody that you don't need to be chasing after, or eating what you don't need to be eating, you're a slave to pleasure. And you running from pain.
Woo. This is getting rough.
There's no way you can change if you a slave to pleasure and you running from pain. because the explosion is in the pain, right? The explosion to get out the atmosphere is in the pain. That creates the leverage, right? So if we're getting used by these two randomly, just as the wind blows,
Come on, bro.
and we're not using them, there's no way we can expect to change. No way.
Come on.
So you gotta, the psychological shift you gotta make is saying, I'm gonna use pain and pleasure instead of it using me. So I'm gonna run into the pain. I don't feel like going to the gym, but fuck it, I'm going. I don't feel like doing this, but it's good for me. I'm doing it. You start building the momentum with that kind of mass and using mass and velocity. Your story and taking the action equals the momentum. You continue to do that. That is how you manually build this momentum. And soon you won't need the alarm no more. Soon that sugar don't even taste good. This is too fucking sweet. Ugh, I don't even want this. Soon, like, that's how momentum is built, because you're going too fast. You're going in a certain direction. You use pain and pleasure. You use it. I don't feel like doing this shit. I'm doing it. I'm scared of heights. I'm jumping out of some shit. I'm scared of I'm doing. I don't like cold. I'm getting in the cold. Like, you're running into the pain.
Come on now.
That's how you change. That is how you change. So it's you use pain and pleasure. What are you addicted to? What are you addicted to? You ain't got to say it, but you can say it in your head. I can use my woo-woo powers to see. Ooh, Kaja, damn, Kaja. You better stop, Kaja.
Now leave her alone. It's okay.
You know what that is? It's just our inability to manage our pleasure and pain. It's gotten past us, and it's built a momentum of its own. That's all. And all you have to do is create leverage. You build enough mental pain. That's how you stop it. It's you create mental pain within yourself. What is this addiction costing me right now? In my relationships, in my money, in my physical health. What is it costing me? What am I losing right now by continuing this behavior? What have I already lost? If I continue this behavior right now, what am I going to look like 4 years from now? Am I going to be better or worse? Am I going to be better shape or worse? Am I going to be more raggedy or less like, what is it going to cost me? Really think about that shit. If you like, what's the odds of my life being better if I continue down this fucked up path? Low. Create the pain to the point to where you had it. I can't do this shit no more. I've been end up in too many dark places and too many dark neighborhoods with too many close calls for me to continue doing this bullshit. This is the last one. That's it. Create the pain and also create the pleasure in yourself. What will it look like for me if I changed? What would my life look like? What would my bank account look like? What would my friendships look like? What would my relationships look like? If I did change this behavior, use it. That's one of the big tools I used in my life. This one right here. Obsessed with change. I would go to I would write a list of, this is my fucked up behavior and this is what it's costing me. By the time I get down like 10, 11, I'm crying. I'm in tears and I'm angry. When I'm at my lowest point, I put myself down there. I drove myself down to my lowest point. It just didn't happen. It was from my behavior. So at some point, how do I create change for myself to get me out of there? I have to run through that exercise. What will it look like for me if I change this? Use pain and pleasure the same way it was used on you.
Come on.
We had a questionnaire at my sister's house, and we was like, okay, we all got whoopings, right? Yeah, we all whoopings. Raise your hand if the whooping changed your behavior and you never did it again. How many hands you think went up? Hardly none. So whooping ain't even effective in stopping that behavior. It just fucks up your emotional self-value and your self-esteem over time. Builds more guilt. So understanding how this game, that's why we call it a beautiful toggle. It's a beautiful toggle. But you switch around the relationship you have with it. If it was Nana up here, I would say you're getting pimped by pleasure and pain. Is that accurate?
You know what I'm saying? Look here, player. Interpretations is correct.
Go ahead.
I was just curious how the conversation ended with your niece spitting. Like, what was the conclusion or census with that conversation?
Well, I don't press it. Like, everybody has their way. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a very dope, very interesting dialogue around family because we all was raised the same. We all got whooped by the same woman. You know what I'm saying? Growing up and how we perceived it. And our kids was there. So then we got to talk to our kids too and say, hey, so how did you, like, what's your perception of this? Because you got whooped by us and because we were taught by her. Mm-hmm. And so we got to have a really dope 3 generations dialogue in that room. And some agreed, some disagreed, but we go about our business. Like, I don't press no issues, right? But it gave us good clarity of understanding. And that's it. Yeah.
When you said use it the way that it was used on you, what do you mean by that?
Use it.
Pain and pleasure. You were like, use it the way that it was used on you. Or maybe I misunderstood what you were
I
saying.
said, use pain and pleasure instead of it using you. Because right now it's using you. We're slaves to our pain and pleasure. We steadily run from pain and we steadily run towards pleasure in a reactionary way, and then complain why we ain't where we want to be. That's how 99% of humans operate, and it gets passed down from generation to generation. And we look on Instagram, we look on social media, and we feel like we're missing out.
Can I, just because there is there's this thing of hustle culture, grind culture, work hard, do lots of hard stuff. And there's an interesting conversation going on about like when that goes too far. And and how people burn out because they don't have the ability to, what I'm assuming is they're not toggling well between the two. I'm just trying to apply this concept to things that I'm seeing.
I love Shabisha. Dope ass questions. You know that saying, read the room? Mm-hmm. You know that saying? Mm-hmm. Here's a new saying for that. Read the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Know when you're on Earth and know when you're in space. So hustle culture might be what you got to do for that initial explosion, but you have to go on with the mindset, with the E-Myth mindset that says this is a temporary thing. And as soon as I'm able, I'm going to outsource and lead by delegation, not abdicate, abdication by delegation, different roles in this organization until there is no hustle anymore. And that's reading the atmosphere. Once you get out of Earth's atmosphere and you have the ability to just spurt out some air and go left and right, then if you still hustling, using explosion energy to go hard in a different atmosphere, that's how you crash. Once you get out of, you got to read your atmosphere. So I don't knock hustle culture, because at the very, very, very beginning of anything, it's going to take some hustle. How much? I don't know. It depends on how smart you are, how resourceful you are. If you got a low IQ and no resources, it may take way more hustle for you to get something off the ground than the person next to you who's way smarter. But you got to be intelligent enough to know what atmosphere you want and delegate accordingly, to where at some point you're like, okay, there's no hustle. Hustle becomes toxic at a certain level of the game. Shit, when I first started Courtsmith, I'm 6-7 days a week. At 49, that shit does not fly. So I'm glad I've maneuvered out to be able to not have to do that. And the goal is to continue to expand that out. But like, I think it's just knowing what atmosphere you're in. All right. Next slide. Let's move on. Let's get out of here. And we're going to talk more about the psychological stuff. But this type of stuff is so critical. It's
everything.
Because what we teach is useless if you guys aren't coupling it with this type of mentality, and learning yourself. All right, let's wrap this book up. Next slide. Oh, hey, here's that slide again for me. Living a life of play and rest. Go ahead.
I commit to creating a life of play, improvisation, and laughter. A level of play is required in genius because it allows for creativity, curiosity, and a level of thinking that allows you to connect with your truest and inner passion. In life and work, conscious leaders give up trying to control what life is giving them. Exertion and effort are two different things, like flowing and forcing. Laughter is powerful, good for the mind and soul.
So, I'm gonna sit in your chairs right now as we talk. So I commit to creating a life of play, improvisation, and laughter too. So this conceptually I know because I have resources around me, and my brother is really good at this game. So I have to continue to get better, and I'm slowly releasing. I'm slowly trusting in that, but I believe it. You can get burnt out. And once you get burnt out, you are of value to nobody. You're of value to nobody. And it creates depression. If you don't have a life of play and rest, you don't weave in those times of play and rest, it creates depression.
Man, come on.
And once you are at the rock bottom emotionally, it's going to take time for you to get up. And in that time, you're going to fuck your business up. So this is an investment. This is an investment. And so it's funny because my assistant sometimes watches this class, so she calls me out on it, on this shit. Didn't you say in your class that, yeah, I said it. You should probably rest. Like, yes, I know. So, but it's true though. It's absolutely true. So when you get to a place to where this is a problem for you, understand that weaving in play and rest is important, and we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together. Next slide. Sure.
Can you go back to that slide real quick? The second from the last bullet point, exertion and effort are two different things. Can you clarify, please?
Ooh, that's a good one. Thank you. You know, have you ever, there's a book talking about power and force, power versus force, right? Power versus force. So if you exert energy, here's a better example. So Navy SEALs, have you ever watched or heard about the training that Navy SEALs do where they throw them in a pool with their hands tied behind their back and their feet bound together, and they gotta survive for 5 minutes? Have you heard that? Okay. So this is a good example of the difference. There's power. There's power, and then there's force. So what Navy SEALs do is, if you throw someone in the pool and they try to float, they try to swim, they're exerting so much energy and effort that they'll end up drowning. 5 minutes and you have no leverage, you're just trying to flap around because you're so afraid to die, you end up drowning. If they try to force themselves to keep their head above water by doing like a mermaid movement, they'll exert too much energy, not enough time. If you apply the right amount of effort,
Come on.
and you don't, they call it, you don't mind dying. When you don't mind dying, then you're not in exertion. You're much more relaxed. And what happens when you relax? They just drown. They just drop. So they drop down to the bottom, and guess what? They hit the bottom. And when they hit the bottom, they push themselves up, just all the way up and to the point to where their head gets above water, and they get to take another breath. Take another breath, and they start sinking again. And that exercise of being relaxed, not minding dying, is what keeps them alive. Because they go to the bottom, head above water, to the bottom, head above water. While somebody's so panicking, they're exerting so much effort, and they don't want to die so much that they end up dying. No, they don't let them die. They pull them out. That's the difference. And to be honest, I get caught in the exertion phase a lot.
It's popular. Shit. That's status. You get status for exertion.
I see, oh, we got to get it. We got to get it. Oh, it's people, I need to make more money. So I get caught in exertion. And here's my story. Why would I take a break when I got so much to do, so many people relying on me, and I got to make sure that we're growing and paying the bills, and like, why, if I feel guilty taking a break. And that's such a beautiful, logical story.
Yeah,
Fucking is.
it's horrible.
But it's a fucking horrible story. So guess what I do? I work. And then that becomes my identity, right? I know Court's gonna come in on his birthday. Guess what? I show up, right? It becomes a story, and you don't want to let go. You don't want to disconnect from the story that of who you've become. It's bullshit.
So what do you end up replacing that story with? Like, I fall in the same camp, so I'm like, I'm responsible for everyone, so
Okay.
I can't stop. So then what do you, to get yourself out of that, like, because there's still a very clear need to grow, and so I'm just curious.
So here's the real shit. I haven't fully got myself out of it. So you want to come up with one together?
Can I throw one in there? I got one.
Yeah, please.
Oh, shit! Look, I thought you were gonna throw. Okay, look here. You're looking down. Look up. Your story's downwards. Create a new story looking up. So you say, I got to take care of all these things, right? You're looking down. I got to take care of all these things. I got to take care of all this stuff, right? If you look up, what would I be if I keep going like this? Where am I trying to go? What's the outcome? Why am I even doing this? Do I get the money and just die? Like, what am I doing this for? Right? How do I still have life? Look up. Like, you start building a story looking up, you realize, have I been looking down so much that life has been passing me by? It's like, you know how you're on the phone, you're driving, if you drive like the old school phone, and you're in your ear, and you may pass 3 or 4 exits, you don't see them, right? Where if you change your brain set to say, like, first ask yourself, why are you here? What is this all about? I fix it for who? And matter of fact, if you want to be honest with you, like, you gotta start tearing your stories apart, second order thinking on your stories. Who said they want the fuck what you giving them? like you might say, I built this business for you. They be like, I'm baking, mom. I don't know. You do the fuck you want that business, right? Life says that that's not how it works. So what you realize is that, okay, tomorrow is not promised to you. Tomorrow, you won't get there if you don't take care of yourself. Tomorrow, if you get the bag and you fat and handicapped, what you gonna do with that? Tomorrow, if you can't caught cancer and diabetes, what you gonna do with that? Tomorrow, if you dead, what you gonna do with that? Like, accept your death and you'll change your story. Accept your death. Don't, because a lot of us move and we don't accept our death. We all have a relationship with death. We're either going to ignore it and we're fear it, but can you accept it? Can you accept that 100 years from now, no one's checking for you? Can you accept that all the shit is serious to you right now? When you die, it doesn't matter to nobody. Can you align with life itself and say, okay, I'm here. And if I don't find a balance in this life, then all I'm doing is creating a slow form of suicide. Because a lot of shit we talk about doesn't really matter. You realize it doesn't matter. You have to get, once you get clarity, like, what really matters? Why are you here? Where's this shit going to? I'm really gonna die. I'm really, like, if I, like, watching my daughter from 1 to 2, it was so beautiful. And I blinked, it was gone. It's never coming back. And you realize that's how everyday life is. It's like, miss this day if you won't. You ain't getting this shit back. Miss your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. You ain't good, and the shit gonna get rougher. And an 80-year-old gonna tell you they have the same physical body of a 20-year-old. And many of y'all will just live so much with a blind story of the past. You're not giving it's like you traumatized by, I gotta fix, I gotta go back and make this right, I gotta make these people, I gotta give to these people, I gotta help these people, I gotta make sure these people are okay. If you die tomorrow, did they all die? No. So at some point, you gotta figure out what is the balance of play and rest. That's the balance of the work. It's not saying don't work hard. It's saying you gotta value play and rest equal to working hard. Otherwise, you almost made up an illusion in your mind. It's almost like you got this idea, I got to get somewhere. But if I ask you what that where is, and let's describe it, what's it going to look like, where you going to live, what's it going to feel like, who's going to be with, you'll realize there ain't no goddamn where. It's really fear masking as the future.
So, yes. So this is a start, and we can work on something. It's, what if we looked at us as investments? And investing in ourselves and in our relaxation and our peace and our recreation makes us better versions of ourselves when we show back up. So if we look at play and rest as an investment back into ourselves, then that can help us be more ambitious in doing it, because we know it'll have a good outcome in our business. See, the problem with some of us is we've had to start working so young. 8, 9, 10 years old, you're a child slave damn near. 8, 9, 10 years old, and that's a badge of honor. You taking care of the family early. You providing for the family too early. So you're psychologically damaged in that way. And if we grew up surviving, then you never got a chance to think about a vacation, rest. It was an unhealthy rhythm.
Come on, bro.
So we didn't get that. My best friend's dad, they went to Disneyland sometimes because they had money. But my block never went to Disneyland. So that part was embedded in who we were. It became our story. Not realizing that true wealth is spending quality time with yourself and your family.
Rich.
And I didn't have it. So now that's the story that I'm creating for myself, and maybe that share with you, and you can take pieces of it. Is we're investing in ourself.
Can't fix it.
Please, yeah, you can't.
Can't fix it. Can't fix it.
Is it that there is an illusion that I can fix anything?
You can't. The future is not a copy of the past. It's something that's new that you've never seen before, right? So because it's something new that you live in your past is betraying the future. That future doesn't give a shit about what you went through. Like when I grew up, men did this. I can accept that by the time I'm 80, men might be wearing dresses and lipstick because I don't control the future. It's not my control. That's what I like. That's why I think that's the way I move. Doesn't mean that's where the world we're moving into. So at the end of the day, Josh, calm the fuck down. And at the end of the day, this is like, boy, man,
Jesus.
no, because he said the camera and the microphone, get your face up the tree. Everybody, and before you know, he was saying ABC because he got distracted with the shit he's saying. The thing is this: at the end of the day, see, that's what fucking happened. I don't know what I was supposed to say.
No. You can't control the future. You can't control the future.
That's when I said that our trauma of the past is betraying our future. Because we're living our past out. We're not exploring our future. We're not living through the lenses of curiosity. We're living through the lenses of trauma.
Yeah.
So whatever the fuck you've been through, it's over.
Yeah.
And, okay, imagine you was a big time dope dealer on the block, right? You ran shit, right? You go down for 10. You get back. Does your reputation matter anymore? And that's how most dudes get killed who come back because they think, oh, I'm back, y'all. And new dudes like, oh, new real estate owner. These are my streets. And we don't even know what the hell you talking about. We don't even have block cell phones no more. What the fuck you talking about, right? And so the reality is that your desire to live your past gets that man killed. Well, the same things happen to your life, your career, your happiness, everything. You're trying to rebuild all that past shit or fix the past shit or become, like, for example, let's say you were in high school and the dude was hella popular, wore Giorgio Armani all the time, and you couldn't wear Giorgio Armani. You finally get you some money, guess what you want to do? You want Giorgio Armani because you're thinking, that same motherfucking crew's looking at you. Them motherfuckers don't even know what Armani is. They're wearing some brand that we don't even know what the fuck the name is. But you were walking out the house like, I got my Giorgio on my, and they're like, okay, OG, I don't know what you wearing, but I guess you tight, boy. That's gone. You have to really get this idea that the future is not controlled by your imagination. That's your ego fucking you up, telling you that you're so important that what you think is going to become, and when it doesn't happen, you go into the should, which is you start to negotiate with reality. Reality is not, you're participating in reality all the time and you're trying to influence it as much as you can. But things can happen in reality that says men will wear lipstick and dresses and guess what? And they're masculine as hell, and that's just the world we live in. And I might be like, I'm an old man, I'll never get this shit. Just like there's some 90-year-old man right now going, I don't get none of this shit. So you don't control that future. And so in the end, you're punishing yourself for a past that you can't go back and change.
Yeah. And healing, how do you heal? Like if you sprained an ankle or you had some sort of ailment, how do you heal? Do you heal the past or is it new? You get new cells, right? You get new cells, new atoms, new everything. And that's how you heal. It's with new, not old. So that's what the velocity part of that last slide is. Velocity is offense. So if I'm here, then I'm not there. If I'm up here, I'm not back there. And so if we're playing the I'm up here game, then the back there game, it becomes healed on its own. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You kind of answered my question. But I was going to say, what's the balance between, because earlier you said you got to make your story, and the story may stem from a past situation that gave you that motivation. Like, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong, or oh, I'm going to accomplish this goal, or whatever hurt happened created that first mass, right? And that mass, I feel like, becomes the poster. It becomes the destination. So I feel like there needs to be, at some point, and I think you just said it, the velocity is what transforms that past image into a future goal that is actually current, rather than like, oh, I'm gonna get that, Armani or whatever, because back then I couldn't have it, right? It evolves into something new with velocity as you transition into your new atmosphere. But I was just wondering, what is that balance of a past mass poster that you create that gives you that but then evolves into something new?
Dope ass question.
Come on,
Ace,
come on, Court.
dope ass shit.
Come on.
So here it is, and I talked about it earlier, but thanks for reminding me to say it again. It's, you have to have the ability with all this, or it doesn't work, or you'll get stuck. As soon as you get an inkling that your story has you stuck, you got to be willing to divorce it. That's the key. So if I'm going to prove you wrong works for now, I'm using that shit. But if I meet you, here's a story I used to have. And it was a powerful one for me, and that shit worked. I'm going to get my mom out the hood, and I'm going to buy my mom a house, right? So that was my thing. I dedicated my whole existence to doing that. At the age of 21, I bought my mom a house. But I'm 21 now. Now what? So if I hadn't changed my story, thankfully I had a kid by then, a wife and a kid by then. That came in with I got a new story by the time that one was old, because that's accomplished.
Come on.
So you have to be easily able to. Then my mom booed up and got married and dipped off. So guess what? I don't have that story that carried me from the age of 12 to 21, but I added a new story. I got this beautiful kids and this beautiful family that's a bigger driver. So you have to be able to always be able to replace. If you got an imaginary bully that you really, I used to have this bully that if I seen you again, guess what? That bully was one of my brothers, right? Just loose screw, abusive, crazy. But guess what? There was a point in time where I could break his neck, but I had changed my story so many times that when I got the opportunity, I didn't even want to do it. Because it'd have been more detrimental to everything. But it's good to use when you can use it, but you got to be willing to toss it when it no longer works. It's over. That story's old, gone, new one. But you got to be able to refill, because you never want to be in a place where you stuck in a loop of a bullshit story. And you know when you stuck. Because you be like, didn't I just pass this corner? Man, this looks familiar. You think you moving and grooving and changing and going, and you're like, wait a minute, I know this street. You in a loop. You ain't going nowhere. That's the time to say, what stories are holding me back? Toss it. What story can I create that can propel me to a future that's bigger than me, that's healthy? That's why I'm gonna prove you wrongs and those things are they have juice to it, but they're not
Sustainable.
They're not sustainable. They don't have a long game approach. Now, if you need to get out of a situation, to get out, but know that story is like milk, and it's gonna sour soon.
I think that's the issue prior to this conversation, of course, we all probably don't realize how often you may need to change those stories. And there is no, I'm trying to think of one, but there is no definite story, I would say, other than your purpose, maybe, that can sustain you throughout all the changes that happen in life, because we don't know the future. So whatever short story you have is short-lived, and we should look forward to changing that story. That's our marker of a level up, you know. But we're not told that, so we just think like, okay, whatever it is that's motivating me, that's going to be my driver, that's going to be my purpose behind my company or whatever. But it's really not that. Like, it's really just something to initiate. And once that initiation happens, like you said, those rockets, those things should be actively falling off as you're moving forward.
Definitely.
You shouldn't be holding on to them for too long anyway.
Good shit,
How
Ace.
often are
Good
you-
shit, Ace.
How often are you changing your story?
Soon as it stops working.
And how long in general has that been?
It depends on, it could be years. It could be a month, it can be 10 years. That story could work for you for 10 years and then get dry as fuck, and you'll see it in your life.
Would you change it before it starts to get dry?
Sometimes we can't see it. So if you can change it before it gets dry, more than likely you have a great feedback loop. Somebody outside of you can see that. Because most of the time you drive the story until it stops working, and then that's when it happens. If you play hoop, you play sports, and you have a particular move that works, here's my crossover. And I perfected it and practiced it, and can't nobody stop it. I can get to the hole every time. Every court I play, every game I play, I had this patent move. Well, guess what? That move started becoming popular over time. And so when a move becomes popular, the defense becomes popular too. So then I go to do my and somebody stops it. The fuck? That's just a fluke. Nah, that's just this guy. I go to the next game so they on to my move. So if I hold on to that move, I'm gonna keep getting picked in games. So either I develop a counter or I come up with a new move, but I cannot hold on to it. Only way you know is when that happens. You can't predict that. And we did not get through the 15 Commitments Conscious Leadership book, but we will next week. Promise you. But we had to do this shit. I felt like this was important. Yeah, I felt like this is important. So on that note, we're going to swap out. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slides. And I'm leading with them slides next week. All right, y'all. I can't get through.
Hey, that momentum was so much fire. Those of you at home, we will be sending a virtual basket to put your offering in. Brother Court preached this evening, didn't he? Oh my God, I was so enjoying that session. I hate you, bro. Literally, these are the things I was thinking about the whole time. You know, we had 2 weeks off. And this was the constant theme of my 2-week discussion with almost everybody was momentum and velocity, stories. So
That's crazy.
that's messed up. So yeah, I'm gonna use him. I'm gonna use story. I'm gonna use Court to my advantage. I'm just jump right into my lesson because he just literally came out with all guns blazing. I will say this. That was really dope. Just say it one more time. That was if you guys get some time, please go back and listen to that class again. And if it didn't resonate with you, it's okay. But you got to process it to it, that light comes on. And when that light comes on, you're going to realize if you don't get this momentum thing down right, your ego, you really believe that either luck is going to reward you, somebody's going to put you on, or serendipity. Just success is serendipity. It's just I do the right shit and somehow the universe is serendipity. And once you get this momentum thing down, you're going to realize that was a very, 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 very powerful class. Now, with that being said, next week, I'm stalling until Shabisha gets back. But next week, I'm going hardcore strategy for to the end of the year. So I'm going to jump into a lot of new strategy stuff I never jumped into before. I'm going to teach you how to just really process and think and see things. I may even put out some podcasts that are quite unusual. Like I might even put out a war podcast. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm going to put out some unique podcasts because I need you to see reality. One of the things I was talking to somebody this weekend, and he said that if human beings, I think it was Scott, we were talking about this. I said, if human beings could just see the world through the glasses of competition, they would understand the world much better. We're always in competition. Once you understand competition, a lot of shit makes sense. A lot, like you're in such competition. When you think you're relaxing, you're in competition. Somebody's coming for your space, or you going for somebody else's space. There's no such thing as I'm just going for space and I don't want to disrupt anybody. And most of us look at the world through the lenses of fairness. When it's not really about fairness, it's really about once you understand competition is not a bad thing. But whether you know it or not, a lot of your decisions, the way the world's showing up, the way you show up to the world, a lot of it's based upon competition. Even when you get dressed in the morning, it's based on competition. But until you understand competition, a lot of stuff won't make sense to you. And so the reason I want to give a war podcast, I shared this one insight for this Navy SEAL. Somebody asked me, how does it feel going to strange lands and killing innocent people? He said, let me be very clear with you right now before we go any further. I am a Marine. That means I'm a killing machine. And because I'm a killing machine, I cannot be a killing machine if I personalize every kill. In order for me to be successful as a Marine, I have to dehumanize the enemy. Now, quite often the enemy would dehumanize themselves, but I have to dehumanize that. Anybody who plays a security role can't play a human role at the same time. Otherwise, psychologically, they can't handle it, right? But when you watch TV, you don't really get that, right? You think Marines, and he goes, even though the military goes through great lengths to make sure we don't kill innocent people. Sometimes it even seems like they even put themselves in danger not to kill innocent people. Can you accept that literally your freedom is at the expense of killing others? Like these are things we get so much of watching TV and on social media, and we're in this Democrats versus Republicans, and we're arguing social justice. Can you get back to the ground? Because once you get back to the ground and you start seeing the world as it really is, you empower your brain to navigate. That's all it's about. It's not that I don't need you to go join the Marines, Kaja. I know you'd be a bad one, but I don't need you to join the Marines, right? But I need you to get back to the ground and see the world for what it is, not what you want it to be, which then gives you a hell of a maneuvering skills. And so this next 6 months, I'm going to focus on pure. You can come to class. I'm going to introduce you guys to so many forms of thought, strategies, problem-solving skills, scaling ideas, new principles that you've been exposed to, but you've never seen them before. And by the time we get to the end of this class, I should be able to enhance your decision-making, your leadership, your problem-solving, and I should be able to improve your velocity. Now, if this part gets boring to you, maybe this class is just a church for you. And it is what it is. That being said, you ready to get down?
Yep.
All right, y'all. Thank you, Court, for a dope-ass class one more time, bro. Honestly, if you would have took the whole class, I wouldn't even tripped. I was enjoying. I was over there enjoying. I'm over there clapping. I'm like, am I in church? Okay, so I was really excited about that. But that was a dope class. You put some things into words. What you talked about today is so invisible, but if you don't know it exists, you don't know how to manage it. If you don't manage it, it's destroying you and it's compromising all your efforts. You put in all this energy into something, but you're getting low results because you don't understand how to manage momentum. And if you don't understand how to manage momentum, you can have, it's like, you know what it's like, Court? Going to the gym, having an amazing workout, calling all your friends, laying in bed, taking aspirin, telling them how hard your workout was because you trained with the top trainer, and 6 months from now, you still got a pot belly. Because you didn't manage momentum. You managed that workout. Right? You realize, like managing momentum is, and momentum is so sneaky. Think about your body, right? If you don't manage momentum, you can have, in 6 months, you can have 20 intense workouts and gain hella weight. And your brain's gonna block you from seeing the weight until the picture comes in your hand. You be like, did they use a wide angle lens or something? Is this a boba lens? What is this, a bubble lens? What the hell is this? No, it's you. Well, why can't you see it? Why you can't see it is because if you don't see momentum, you're measuring by the efforts. And you go, I put all this hard work in. Man, I'm sore. I had to go to the doctor to get my wrist wrapped. I'm strongest dude at the gym now. Everybody knows I've been in the gym for 3 hours training. You're bigger now. Where somebody come to the gym and there'd be this girl coming to the gym, she'd be overweight, and all of a sudden she's chiseled down and she come in there working for 30 minutes. You're like, what the hell what is she? She must have got her stomach operated on. No, she's controlling momentum, less effort, getting higher results. You working your ass off, have all these traumatized workouts, and then you're going the opposite direction. That is exactly what momentum is. You won't see it when you're in it. You got to know it exists. It's a long-term. It's like looking at life 2 years out, 3 years out, and then measuring the flow and the waves. And if you don't know that flow, and you just kind of paying attention to the highlights, you can. All right, put in the business sales. You go into the week and you're talking to people, and people are like hyping you up, and oh, I love your work, and and you get caught up, and you think that's momentum. Or you get somebody, you get awards, you get accolades online. You think that's momentum. It's not momentum. Is it part of momentum? Yeah, but it's not momentum. Matter of fact, I love Court for this one. That's why he's my brother. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. You can be going through an economic dip in money, but know you got momentum and know you're still okay. Because it's going to replenish yourself. You're going to feel like, you can look at your bank account, and let's say you used to having $100 grand in your bank account. You look at bank account is $30,000. You're like, fuck. But your momentum is right. So you're like, okay, y'all, we need to just tweak a couple of things. And all of a sudden, money will fly out the sky. You're like, how the hell? But if your momentum's not right, and your numbers are big, and you start making big decisions, but you're not seeing your momentum, and you make decisions on these highlights. Say you got $300,000 in the bank, but ain't no momentum there. Let's say you got awards, no momentum there. Let's say somebody featured you on a news show, but there's no momentum. And you drop 150 grand on investments, and then by the time the investments reaches peak, you're down to $30,000. Because you didn't make no money. The other 150 was being eaten up because you had no momentum. Once you get this momentum shit, you'll realize it's more important to look at your momentum than looking at your bank account almost. That's why I said the shit he taught, when y'all get the importance of momentum, you're going to say, oh shit, this is where my eyes should be on first. I can look at my companies. You can have a big ass win. You just won. Got a contract for the city. I just made $1 million. Dropped $1 million on them. But if you don't feel, if the momentum in the office is wrong, you just fell off a cliff. You got to know that momentum game. You got to know how to stimulate the momentum. It's almost like, how do you get the wind behind that sail when the air stops? When the air stops, are you driving the air, or is it inertia, luck, or a trend? Is it a hype cycle? Or are you driving it? And if you can't identify how you're driving your momentum, you're probably lucky right now, or fortunate, or benefiting from a trend. Right now, a lot of black businesses are going to die. A lot of good businesses are going to die because they weren't controlling the momentum. It was COVID. That money was trillions of dollars was thrown into society. Black Lives Matter. Here's a couple billion for y'all. And then some businesses, shoop, and they thought, yeah, I'm doing it. And some of those businesses, they sat down with me, they don't like me. Because I sat down and said, you don't have no fucking momentum. You might got $1 million, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million. But you're just a ticking clock waiting to die. That's all it is. You don't even have a rhythm you don't even know how to generate momentum. You're just benefiting from the momentum. And when it dies, you have no idea what the fuck just happened. And then your brain will then go, well, it's because racism, the competition, the market got strange, crime in Oakland just destroyed me, and you'll be just running your script all day long. And here's the other thing too: even if you control momentum, you should be questioning your ability to control momentum all the time. Is this really working? Am I controlling momentum? How do I have check-in points? Just like, okay, let's say you're trying to lose weight over a year. You're trying to lose weight over a year, you have no checkpoints. Otherwise, don't let your emotions be your checkpoints. Don't let your hard work be your checkpoints. Don't let that one time, that whole week that you ate all vegetarian food be your checkpoints. Like, you literally got to have things to say, is this shit working? Where do I need to tweak to make sure my momentum has smart strategy behind it? Otherwise, I got the momentum going in the wrong direction. I don't want what I'm going to get when I get there. Shabish, you ready to do this shit? Because he opened with so much fire. And when y'all get this momentum shit, that means you're doing some shit. If you ain't doing no shit, this momentum may sound like we just talking about purple bears and green hearts and little frogs and shit. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
No one cares. It's your fault.
Ooh.
When people's actions have outcomes that don't line up with how they see themselves, they tend to insulate their egos by blaming other people or unfavorable circumstances. Psychologists even have a term for this tendency. They call it self-serving bias, a habit of evaluating things in ways that protect or enhance our self-image. Statements like, "It was a great idea, just poorly executed." I don't know why that's so funny. "We did the best we could."
Excuses.
"And we never should have been in this situation in the first place,"
Excuses.
are often manifestations of this bias.
But let me highlight something that it kind of didn't say here. Not accepting responsibility, of course. I just came out of a space where people were accepting responsibility. And when I got to this accept responsibility, I'd never seen so many solutions fall out the sky. It was ridiculous. When you don't accept responsibility, you can't see solutions. You can't even figure out what to do tomorrow when you constantly blame people and ask you what you're going to do tomorrow. You can't see it. You can't see it. But let me add another thing too. You know what else happens when you point fingers at everybody? It creates anxiety for you, and it makes it hard for you to move forward in your own life. A person who gossips all the time is scared to move because they don't want to be gossiped about. They frame the world so rigid. Okay, look, everybody in this room stinks. Everybody in this room smells good. You all of that. You good and bad. Some days you will smell great. Some days you as funky as it can be. That's called being a human being. You don't get to smell good all the time. You think you smell good all the time, but ask your partner. There's certain days you stink. Right? You go to the restroom after you about 1 minute. You stink. Right? But the reality is that when you talk about everybody stinking, guess what happens when you go to the restroom? You're embarrassed. If somebody comes in behind you, you almost frozen in your footsteps. So if you're judging what other people are doing right versus what they're doing wrong, when it comes time for you to do something, you're gonna have so much anxiety. You're gonna overthink, underthink, make bad decisions, walk in fear, be fragile, and everything else. The more you can develop more compassion for others, empathy for others, it's really for yourself. It's not for them. It's never for other people. It's for yourself. So, accepting your fault, one, as I said last week, it empowers you to improve. Every time you have something that goes in your life and you say, what did I have to do with this? it allows you to figure out what this new version of you is going to be. You learn new strategy. This is the door strategy. It's like you have two doors. One door is say, it's my fault. You opened up and you discover a new strategy. The other door is it's their fault. You opened up and the only thing that's on the other side of the door is yesterday. I mean, you ain't changed shit in your life. You're the same person. So you say, I want to change, but you keep moving in a way that says, I'm going to prevent change. And what prevents change is your ego. Back to that old ego again. Because you got to protect yourself first. Next slide. We'll go because we got to hit that slide. That was kind of primer from last week.
Here's the thing. It might be true.
So it might not be your fault. It just might not be your fault. But go ahead.
Maybe it really wasn't a bad idea, just bad execution. Maybe you really did do the best you could. Maybe you never should have been in that situation in the first place. Unfortunately, it doesn't
matter.
No one cares.
Okay, read that one line again. No one what?
No one cares.
Okay, say it in like that Shabisha professional voice.
That is. No one cares.
That's good enough for me.
Talking to Josh.
No one cares.
No one cares.
No one. So when you say it ain't my fault, no one cares. And this is why I can't stand by people who want to be professional, especially black folks. We go into the world and then we want to explain why we were unable to perform, and we want somebody to give a fuck. No one cares. You're in a world where, okay, you know why no one can really care, especially in business? It's even worse. Like if you're a person like no one cares, but in business, you know why it's worse? It's called competition. While you're sitting there whining about what you didn't do well, your competition takes your place. No one cares. Who lost a championship in basketball the most in the 90s? No one cares. Who gives a fuck? Tell me the players who didn't start in the last 5 seasons of the NBA the least. No one cares. You give me that stat, I'm like, why are you wasting that's noise. Get that, that's like ugly ass wallpaper. Get off my wall. No one cares. Keep going.
None of it changes the outcome or solves the problems that still remain.
If your job is to keep that vehicle moving forward, you got to keep stopping your vehicle and give explanations of what could, woulda, shoulda, coulda. No one cares. That's why it's important for you to take full ownership to say, hey, even when I don't have power and it's not my fault, what choices, what options do I have? What tools do I have? And you'll find there's tools that you just culturally were never exposed to, but if you keep your brain focused on, they will be revealed to you. And you realize like a person who takes ownership. Okay, so this weekend, we got invited as an organization, 510 Media trumped a big foundation, bigger firm than us. It's an Indian firm, and, and my Indian brothers and sisters, they be performing their ass off. But we trumped them, and we got invited to talk to a large portion of the top educators in the nation about marketing. Now we're going to do a presentation in front of this thousands of people. This is a lot of money on the table, priming us for this relationship. In that space, what gives us this superpower that when we sit amongst them is they move in this space of like blaming, the students, the people, and it makes them sub-talented. What makes us look so superior? Because we move with the space of it's always our fault. So we able to see things and like, how do you see so much, Nana? How do you? They came to me because we was having this meeting. Once in a while, I would stop the meeting and go, let me share a story with you. I would do it just like that every time. Let me share a story with you. And they would say, you guys are doing this, because I knew that would put everybody in defense. Let me share a story with you. And when I finish the story, they would go, oh shit, I didn't realize we were doing that. And everybody had took this, and you saw them pivot every time. And it's like, I think 5 times I was like, let me share another story with you. Let me share another story with you. Let me share this other story with you. It's like, how do you see, mind you, these are PhD scientists and doctors and psychologists, and how do you see these things? This is how I got there. The reason I can see so many systems, because I started saying, okay, what can I do though? I understand what happened, but what could I have done? It's like, do you fear earthquake or do you figure out how to live in a state that has earthquakes? Some of us fear so much and we think that when an earthquake happens, it just happens. The question is, give me all the tools of what I can do. Doesn't mean you're going to always win, but I can definitely change the odds. And the way I'm able to I get these questions that haunt me where I have to figure out what they are, which means I have this crazy level of curiosity because why? I can't figure out how I was at fault. And until I can figure this out, I won't let this go. And then when I finally discover what it is, I just upgraded my thinking, my strategical analysis, my ability to see things. But before then, everybody I know who practices a gossiping culture, you flatline your thinking. You can't see. Your brain is full of knowledge. You read more books than I can even begin to read. And yet you can't get past this line because all you do is gossip. Gossip is so fucking toxic. Don't get me wrong. You can do a second gossip, what I call a split second of gossip. I can be like, man, Yapasul, you see what Shakina did the other day? You go, yeah. And you're like, that's crazy, huh? He's like, yeah. But I think the reason she probably did it, if you had to think about what is her incentives? You see what I just did? I shifted and go into let's analyze it. Let's try to figure out what the causation is. What are the possible incentives of why she would do that? What would cause us to do something like that? Because obviously she's a good person. So if she did that, what could be something that we can't see here? You see what I'm doing? I'm practicing a strategy exercise. As opposed to, let me show you how our typical gossip goes. Man, so you see what your kid did? Yeah, man, that's some trash shit. See, people like her, you see what I just did? I just automatically, I closed the case on her. And now I'm about to associate her with everybody else who I already closed the case on them, which means I closed the case on my thinking. You see what happened with that? So it's so important. It's okay to start with that energy of gossiping, but land in a space of insight, empathy, understanding. What are you missing? What it is you can't see that is a lesson from their experiences. You see where I'm going with this? Next slide.
Just because something happened that was outside of your control doesn't mean it's not your responsibility
Come on.
to deal with it the best you can.
Come on. There you go. Come on.
Our desire to protect ourselves prevents us from moving forward. It's tempting to absolve yourself, throwing your hands up and claiming you have no control over the situation you've landed in.
So read that first and say, our desire to protect ourselves prevents us from moving what?
Forward.
Our desire to protect ourselves prevents us from moving, did you say sideways?
Forward.
Okay. You say backslide like Michael Jackson. You said forward?
But forward.
Yeah. Y'all see this? That's not simple language. That's not kind of moves you stop people moving forward. No, that's the reason your tomorrow looks like yesterday and the day before and the day before and next week will look like this week because you focus on so much what everybody else is doing wrong and why things happen to you and why you're a victim. Remember that man said earlier, can you be a victim and move
Forward.
Come on now. He stole my lesson. I'm just saying. It's tempting to absolve yourself, throwing your hands up and claiming you have no control over the situation you've landed in. Let me show you how you do. Let me show you how you absolve yourself. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. I mean, that's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's crazy. Racist, sexist, goddamn Democrats, Republicans, goddamn midgets, tall ass, lanky ass people. You see what you just did? Everybody I just named are human beings that have dope ass stories that are lessons for us. But instead, what do? Let's take a person who's extremely short. You call them short person. In my age group, we call them midgets. Or some people called Josh's last girlfriend called him Josh. Either way, it puts this. When somebody's short, they have a different perspective, right? Like they deal with some different restraints. But there's lessons and wisdom in the way their life moves. The more you move with curiosity as opposed to judgment, you're unlocking lessons that are all over the place. You know what kills me? Now, what book did you read? Even if you read the book and you don't have any observation skills, it doesn't do anything for you. If you're just a gossiping, judgmental, that, Bible said, do not judge. And some of y'all got some defense of, well, if I'm in the alley and I'm looking at this big old book dude, I'm a judge. Come on, that fool. That's not what it's saying. You move forward by understanding. I always assume everybody's good. How'd you get here? I had never seen a baby come out the womb and firing on people. That would be the best. I promise you, I would be no help as a doctor. I'd be on the floor crying, laughing. But the point is, I ain't never seen it happen, right? That means what has happened in that person's life that may happen in somebody's life that's around me, or maybe happen to me. I might be in the third stage of that person's 10th stage. But I can't stop it if I'm judging. I'm going to go to the 4th stage because guess what? I missed the opportunity for the lesson because I didn't have empathy for the person in front of me. Ain't that some cold shit?
I have a question because I don't want to apply it out of context of what you're saying, because in the context of solutions, this is 100% making sense to me. In the context of what we were talking about earlier, of our traumas being the thing that we're trying to fix, I can see where it gets fuzzy about what's my responsibility and what isn't.
What do you mean? Because to be very clear, what is adult?
What
At its core, when it comes to responsibility, what is adult?
what is an adult?
What is a true adult? If you look at human beings, over in the existence of human beings, what is a true adult?
A person that takes responsibility for stuff,
For what?
for their lives, for what's around them, for their
No,
community.
no, that's kids. That's a child. For what? No, for other adults. Right? You think the white man who built this land like you?
No, I don't think he cared.
But he still built it so you can have an opportunity, right?
Uh-huh.
That's some dope shit there. Can you build spaces and responsibly, even if you don't like these motherfuckers, can you just make sure that they eat every day and survive?
Got it.
That's game.
Got it.
So like that dope shit is on some, and we've been slaves for so long,
Got it.
we just worry about taking care of ourselves.
Got it.
When our number one goal is adults. Matter of fact, when you raise your child,
Yeah.
you should raise your child that they can take care of another adult.
Huh.
Not themselves. That's low hanging fruit. Johnny, he's doing good. He ain't went to prison. He's a security guard down at Target. He's all right now. He didn't go to jail. Y'all heard that? Come on, y'all heard that shit before. He ain't sold no drugs. You know what I'm saying? Now he might go down there on San Palo, mess with them girls a little bit, but he ain't did nothing else. Right? Y'all heard that damn story. Okay. Okay, y'all act like y'all ain't got no family members like my family members? Okay, all right. I know they love you too, Josh. Wink. Next slide. Okay, go ahead. Is the kids what I say, huh?
Always focus on the next move,
Oh, come on.
the one that gets you closer or further from where you want to go.
That's momentum right there. That's managing momentum. What he just talked about right there. Read it again.
Always focus on the next
What's the word he said? Move?
move,
Right? Keep going.
the one that gets you closer or further from where you want to go.
That's managing momentum. First of all, to get momentum started, a lot of work. It requires a lot of energy. This is why you can't do two things at the beginning. This is why you can't have 2 or 3 jobs. This is why you can't have 2 or 3 interests. This is why you can't be working on a business project and have hella women on the side, young men. This is why you can't have hella friends, women that you're taking care of who got all these problems you're trying to solve and help everybody's out. You go to everybody's parties and everybody's baby showers and everybody's events, and you went into everybody's house to help them fix their problems and help everybody with their relationships and helping your mama and your cousin, your uncles and your aunties out. And guess what? You're trapped because you're not building in momentum because you're too busy solving everybody else's problem. Momentum requires a narrow fucking focus to get it started. That's why you have to put your head down. You ain't got time to be online even. Like if you're online, it's for marketing, but you ain't online like, hey, what y'all doing? What's going on over here? Momentum requires so much energy that you have to bring. Now, once it's going, it's moving. But then again, once it's moving, like my phone through the week don't ring a lot with people just saying, what's up? What's up? What's up? Now, before I was running my business, I had 9 to 5. On my phone was ring, ring, click, click, tick, 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 tip, tip. It was gone. Why don't people call me? Because they realize none of them may not call me back. Because if it's not the key people who's part of my support team, my circle, or part of my strategy, part of where I'm going, part of anything I'm trying to do that has to do with my momentum, I can't do it. Doesn't mean I don't love you. It's I got to protect my movement forward. If you don't match focus to your movement, you have nothing. If you don't match focus to your movement, mean that stop all the conversations you don't need to have come loose. It ain't talking about you don't, like, if I'm out and about, I'm shaking hands, kissing babies. Hey, hey, whoa. Like my mother, if my wife sends me to Target, I might not get back for an hour. I might have kissed a whole bunch of babies between here and there. Don't y'all try it. But what I have to do is make sure I lock my schedule in and do what I'm supposed to do to get it done. Otherwise, it won't happen. When Tennille first came along, I'll never forget, Tennille first came, Marquita went through the same thing. Hey, no, I need you to do this. Hey, it's my workout time. I had to protect that momentum. I know some people say, well, how do you work out? How do you protect your schedule? I say, you ever had a doctor's appointment? Anybody ever tell you, I know you have a doctor's appointment, but can you stop at my house first? Nobody does that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, treat your doctor's appointment, treat your workout like a doctor's appointment. Mm-hmm. I got to work out today. But you don't even say workout. You're like, hey, I got an appointment. I'll get right back to you. If it's somebody that's really, really important, you're uncomfortable saying, until you get comfortable enough owning your momentum. But many of you guys don't realize that you have to own that momentum and protect it at all costs. That's why when you have, like, okay, watch this. Let's say I want to be a DJ. And
Here we go.
And I want to do photography at the same time, right? So let's say I go over here and I'm DJing, killing it, right? But then when the DJ is over, I run some errands, and then tomorrow I go do a photo shoot. Where is me protecting the next move? Where's my time for investing in the next move? I'm not driving no momentum. I'm reacting to it. So now I'm just waiting for the wind to catch me and throw me some distance, and just waiting for serendipity and throw me some distance. Now realizing if I want to get some momentum, when I finish DJing, I need to be talking to people that can say, hey, can you DJ this party? Or I know this corporation that wants to hire you for this. Or I know you could actually go on this radio station. I need to be talking to people and displaying and putting my art. And when I'm not actually making money, I should be practicing in a space where I'm actually giving it away for free, but I'm actually practicing so I can get more exposure. And then I go back to the places where I'm getting paid. And eventually I'm mostly doing nothing but paid. And I'm practicing less, and I'm getting paid more, and eventually I'm not even doing either one because I've hired people to do both for me, and I'm running in my company. You see what just happened? That's momentum. Where you guys are practicing tinkering. You know, like if you go out in your backyard and you start working on a little house, and you take two 2x4s, you cut them and you nail them together. You put that they put the 2x4s on the ground. You leave the house. Get busy with work, go handle some other shit. Next year, guess what's going to be sitting in your backyard? Them 2x4s, doing that one nail, with a plan in your mind, because that's tinkering. And so a lot of people can't grow their careers because you're moving in a tinkering rhythm, not a momentum movement. Huge freaking difference. Keep going.
If you play poker, you learn this intuitively. You're dealt a hand based mostly on luck.
Woo! Okay. Go ahead. I got to calm myself there. I just need to get some oxygen. Go ahead.
Feeling sorry for yourself.
Oh,
Complaining about the hand you were dealt.
come on, black people.
Or blaming others.
Women, LGBTQ, people of color, everything else under the storm. Keep going.
Or blaming others for how they played their hands.
Oh, rich people against poor people. Come on.
Only distracts you from what you can control.
Come on.
Your responsibility is to play the hand as best you can.
Every hand you got, you don't realize you have an advantage. Okay. I'm going to say something to women. Women online, it's time for Uncle Nana to have a conversation with you. You guys got superpowers you don't even know how to use because you're too busy trying to compare yourself to these raggedy ass men. There's things y'all can do that we can't touch. My mother would talk to me and just be telling me I'm doing something wrong, and I'm not even mad, and I'm crying, and I don't know where the tears are coming from. And I'm like, why do you do this to me, Mom? This is ridiculous. I ain't even mad at you like that. I don't know why I'm crying like that, Mom. I just wish you stopped doing that to me. There's certain energy, there's a certain soothness and wisdom that a woman can display to a man that almost puts us in like this moment of like we're on drugs. Y'all think I'm playing? Y'all don't even know how to use it.
Real talk.
Like there's certain women who don't know how to use that weapon, like that. Who's the famous poor sister who died?
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou.
was a she echoed so much feminine power, and so many women missed it. She could walk into a room and check the hardest gangster in the world, but if another man checked that same gangster, he's killing them on sight. Y'all have powers. Y'all have so many superpowers, but if you go into comparisons, you don't get a chance to see the power you possess. Black people in the Bay Area, you live next to .com, Silicon Valley. You look at their money and you go, we don't have nothing. Huh. You don't see it. Freedom is a lot of responsibility, right? A lot of responsibility. Like if I say you're free, food, clothing, shelter, water, land, housing, population control, disease, war, outsourcing, trade. That's all your responsibility, bro. Right? Everything's your responsibility. I mean, everything. Streets, got crack on the streets, but you free. Go to fix your shit.
Diseases.
That's your shit, bro. Figure it out. You should save money to get ready for this. It's coming down the road. All this, why didn't know it's gonna happen? You free, baby. That's your job. Figure it out. Okay? Watch this. They segregated us and they just took everything away and they left Oakland. You see how you can reframe that to freedom? Do you mean they left us all this shit and just packed this shit and cut out? They not gonna bother us no more? This is our shit now? Because that's what happened at one point for black folks. But when we talk about it like, they just did us wrong. Why do you feel like that? Because you're doing comparisons. If that white man could have landed in America and Indians had a city like San Francisco and they could have pushed him out and got San Francisco, they had to win. Black folks, because we out of slavery, I'm not mad at us. It's part of the game. I'm empathetic. I'm not one of those like, what we need to do better. I'm trying to show you how you're trying to get this business game. For every complaint, if you reframe it, you can see some of those complaints are actually opportunities. They're opportunities. I know a black business that opened up in Alameda the other day, and somebody was talking about, I was with this person at their black business, and white people were walking around looking at us like we were strange. and they was like, looking at us, and they was asking questions, and even the kid, this one white kid walked by and goes, yeah, that's where the black people hang out and drink. And I said, yeah. And to me, like, you a Republican or some shit? What do you mean? Yeah. I said, you got to East Oakland as your brand. They're going to say, if you can't get that shit working, what the fuck you doing over here now? And I don't want you spending that shit over here because we want our way of life. Once you start seeing how things work, you realize, so we got to solve crime. Otherwise, it's going to cause a lot of damage to our innocent behavior. Yes, it will. It's going to start destroying opportunities. You see all like this. Once you start seeing, if you don't take ownership, you won't see these complex ecosystems that are all tied together, and one thing begets this and this begets that. But when you don't take ownership, you're putting things in silos, and you almost have this disconnected perception of life. It's just cold. Play the hand you were dealt. And I promise you, there's so much out here for you. When you keep looking at everybody else's hand or wishing you had something else, you don't realize you're not learning strategy. Strategy is mastering the hand you dealt with. And it gives you an advantage once you master how to play those different hands. Envying another man's hand only makes you weak as hell. You should never envy another woman's success.
Man.
Ever. Play the hand you are dealt. If God gives you a $10 million life a year before you die, and you mad because you didn't have a $1 billion life, you own some shit. And some of you guys are going to make the dumbest gamble. You call it an investment. It'll be the dumbest gamble because you wasn't investing. You were gambling because you were trying to leap levels because you was comparing yourself to somebody above you. Or you didn't have the patience to manage the time it takes to get from 1 to level 4, which might take 3 or 4 years. Because you look at number, this guy at number 6, and you're like, damn, he's got this nice car. Damn, he's living that life. Ooh, shit. So you try to take shortcuts, and all you keep doing is booby trapping yourself and falling back to the bottom every time and time again. Play the hand you were dealt. Next slide.
You can put energy into things you control or things you don't control.
Okay, that question you asked Sheena earlier about what was that? Effort versus what was that word? Is exertion. Watch this. Read that again. Read that first one again. That's why I hate court.
You can put energy into things you control or things you don't control.
Okay, this is so important. It's so important. You gotta know when to shrug your shoulders and go, I have no control. Don't let the story make you feel like you have control and then haunt you and then steal your time away from you. You gotta know when you have control and when you don't have control. You can grow control, or you can grow control. For example, okay, you go into a store, right? Store is making millions. You walk in and gives you bad customer service. Do you have control? Big store. Growing like out of control. You don't have control. They don't need you. You can write a yep. But if you go online and everybody's like they love them and you just got a bad experience, move on. Literally, you have to be able to cut that link. Move on. Now, fairness gonna make it hard on you. Move the fuck on. But once you start simmering in, it should have been. You're disconnecting from reality. And now you're putting energy in something that you have no control in, meaning that you're wasting your valuable time, attention, money. Keep going.
All the energy you put toward things you don't control comes out of the energy you can put toward the things you can.
So think about this. Every time you waste time on shit you don't control, you're neglecting the things you should be controlling. So this again, every time you put energy on things you don't control, you are literally starving, creating scarcity around the things you do control. All right, let me help you out. You ever dated somebody, you got some kids, and you try and get this woman and this man to act right, and your child goes to Castlemont? Because Castlemont is not a good school right now. So you're investing in education, or you're so busy trying to get your friends to accept you, you ain't visit your child's school yet. Right? Or you're so busy trying to get the city to clean your streets, but you won't go outside and sweep. I can keep going. I can do this for hours. How we put so much energy into what we don't control and neglect what we should be controlling. If we start controlling, Emeryville didn't have street sweeping for 15 years. Now, I don't know if y'all been in Emeryville in the last 15 years. It's always been clean. The people focus on what they controlled, not what they don't control. You can sit here, the white man won't help you out. Cool, but what do you control? Then grow that, which will give you more control. You focus on what you don't control. Republicans and Trump, I don't control who's going to win that. I don't control that. You can vote, but you don't control it. Say yourself, what do you control if Trump wins? What do you control if Biden wins? What do you control if Governor Newsom wins? That takes a lot. Governor Newsom, that dude would be killing me. But what do you control? Right? So the reality is that stay focused on what you control. Don't focus on what you don't control. Otherwise, you're starving the things you do control. And you do that. Trust me, I've seen dudes, all right, on a block, working on an old ass car that ain't worth 10 cents to a goddamn nickel. Right? Where if they just let that old car go with the money they have and just put that on down payment, they actually got more money. If you start going through your life like what am I working on that I don't control, you're gonna realize. I bet you on the other side of that you're gonna find out what you're neglecting in your life. Mm-hmm. Is that some cool shit? Mm-hmm. Keep going, Shabisha.
While no one chooses difficult circumstances, adversity provides opportunity.
There's no opportunity without adversity. Come on, let's just cut it out. If everything went smooth, that means your life ain't changing. Man. That means you're doing the same shit every day. If everything is smooth, life is as expected, that means there's no reason for you to change anything you think about. That means you think you're perfect and your relationship to the world is perfect. That means nothing needs to change. Once you decide you want to change your life, adversity is your best friend. Keep going.
It allows us to test ourselves and see who we've become.
How the heck, that social justice is moving towards ease and comfort and ease and comfort, ease and comfort, ease and comfort. And then we're like, why is mental health a problem in this world? I don't understand. Man. Human beings need that natural relationship with friction and tension to become our greater selves. To run from that makes you your weaker self. I was out the other day at a car dealership helping a loved one. And the people walked in there and I realized how strong my personality is. I'm literally smashing on people because they like soft to me. And I went home and I was like, damn, my daughter's like me too. Very aggressive. But we don't know we're aggressive until I'm around weaker, normal people. Now, when I'm around Court, I don't feel my aggressiveness because he's aggressive. But if I'm around people that are not aggressive, I almost just roll over you. I'm just steamrolling people. Even when I'm nice, I'm steamrolling people. And the reason I got that strong is because I've been through so much adversity. I use adversity like weightlifting to make me so much stronger that when I'm amongst people who are not training, you're weak. And that's not my fault. I don't know how to, I'm kind to weak people, but if you decide to battle me, I'm going to quickly crush you. It's dangerous to let you stay around. You might be toxic, it might contaminate me or something, I don't know. And when I crush you, I don't even know I'm doing it because I'm moving in my comfort zone because my new norm is super strong to you. So I can't even let you talk to me and say, Nana, you're so aggressive. I went through that for a little while. Oh, no, you're so aggressive. And I told the person who told me I was so aggressive, I said, motherfucker, how do you think I built this? Man. You think I built this by, you know what, you want to pay me? I mean, if you don't want to, it's okay. I mean, what would make you happy?
Right. That's mass.
Come on. Do you know how often I make my customers feel uncomfortable? Every time I send my invoice. That's my job. And I love making you feel uncomfortable. Ooh, y'all sure expensive. I know, that's right? Life is that way. This is how life works. And I don't even feel it. Because I built that up. I wasn't like that in the beginning. I had to build those muscles up. But you got to go through shit. All this, I'm going through something today, Nana. It's just so hard. I'm like, are you dying? No. Your mama died? No, but it's just hard on me. I'm going to get your punk ass away from me. That's what I'm saying in my head. But I'd be like, oh, what's wrong? So let y'all know. So at least y'all know. You're going to say, did you say get your punk ass away from me before I say anything? Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Keep going.
The test isn't against other people.
Come on.
It's against our former selves.
That's, okay. God, you gotta embody this. You gotta feel this. You can't just read these words. This ain't no, this is real shit. Read that one more time so you can really hear what the fuck she just said and say it in your professional voice. Don't use my fucked up words. Go ahead.
The test isn't against other people, though. It's against our former selves.
Okay. Don't you want to be better than your former self? But you won't but your former self just keep whooping your ass every time. You're a victim of your former self all the time. And let me tell you, some of y'all have the motherfucking audacity to give your former self a story and a title and its own movie. You know, when I was younger, my former self went through all this. That's why when I'm in this situation right here, I gotta let that motherfucker win. You know, I was poor in my former self. I was ugly in my former self. I was broke. I had no friends in my former self. That's why I can't fuck with your pretty ass. Because my former self has to win. This is what y'all say. This is what y'all say to people all the time. You know, I've been through a lot. As a black person come out the hood, my former self. So I can't explore anything new because former self must dominate and control this conversation because I gotta keep former self happy. I call my former self, hey daddy, you happy now? Come on. And then y'all put some buzzwords around former self, you know, because my former self took care of my kids. Mm-hmm. My former self watched my dying mother die in my arms. My former self watched my dog get ran over. And to give up former self, Nada, I want you to pay attention. Every time you talk to somebody, see how many times you introduce your former self.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to.
Former self, meet Yapasua. Yapasua's trying to give me some money for a new opportunity. But I had to warn him about former self. You know, Yapasua, I ain't never did this before. And usually when people do this, give me these kind of opportunities, I don't trust because back in the days when last time somebody did this to me, I didn't do this. And so, you know, and this is how I usually do it. This is how I usually show up. And this is what I've been known for because this is my reputation. My former self was known. Matter of fact, my former self was at this old club called Silks about 15 years ago, and it was popular. That's why when I get these opportunities, I gotta bring my former self back. I want y'all to understand, this is that kind of shit. This is why we can't. I want to be somebody different. I just want my life to grow. I want to go somewhere I've never been before. But can I bring former self? No. Because former self got a big ass ego. It's glut. It must have all the attention. It's narcissistic. It's grandiosity. It's everything. I want y'all to pay, I really want y'all to take some time, because if you learn to live past former self, it's going to be scary the first time you do it, because you don't realize you don't know the fuck you going. Somebody dropped you off in the middle of nowhere. But you don't realize if you start traveling the journey, before you know, should develop your own GPS. And that's called strategy. But you can't get to your new way of thinking because you keep talking about your fucking former self. How the fuck are you 50 and your 9-year-old former self is still being addressed? Yeah, my Mr. former self when I was 17. Oh my God. I gotta this shit again. This is why I'm not available. Go ahead.
Are we better than we were yesterday? When circumstances are easy, it's hard to distinguish ordinary people from extraordinary ones.
Okay, so I'm gonna hurt some feelings, and I don't give a shit, because you know what? If your feelings are hurt, it's you, not me. See? Okay. If you are self-anointed, self-acknowledged, self-validated, self-approved, self-celebrated, congratulated, self-rewarded for being great, trash. Now, if you've been through some battles and your greatness is announced in his relationship to his battles, respect. Many of you guys avoid the battles all the fucking time. So I'll show you. Okay, watch this. I'll give you an example. Hey, Yapasua, man. Gotta work on this new project. And it's gonna put your image out there. Might embarrass you a little bit if you fail. Public exposure. And I know you're already doing this project over here, but you gotta go over here. Yapahusu wakes up in the morning, he doesn't feel the anxiety, but it's there. And it's starting to rev up as his eyes become more and more aware, his brain is going, shit, gotta try this new shit. So Yapahusu starts the project of the new stuff about 10 minutes. The phone rings, air blows to the window, fucking hear an ant screaming, whatever the fuck it is. And he goes to do what he's comfortable doing. So he goes and starts to work on some things he's comfortable with. And he doesn't know anxiety really has him over here. He thinks he's over here because this is what I'm good at. But he also doesn't realize he's avoiding what he's not good at. Right? So instead of him being able to take on this new opportunity, he can't. You know why? Because anxiety he doesn't know that exists has him focusing on the stuff he's comfortable with and neglecting the things he should be working on, that he's very uncomfortable. And why is he so uncomfortable? Because he gossips so much, he don't want people talking bad about him. Mm-hmm. So he just subtly, and he doesn't see that deep governing emotion that's down deep inside of him is making him really fragile in this space. And over here, he knows I can be congratulated for this. Now, why can you be congratulated? Because you know you're good at this. So then when he goes out in front of the public, watch this. We're not finished with the story. He walks outside the public and says, Yapahusu, I heard you're doing this over here. And he knows he's not as good as he wants to be because his money says he ain't that good. But if he can but he wants to be good. But he can't get past his fears to be good. But if he gets any ability to claim value in that space, he will lose his fucking mind. Yeah, I'm doing big things, man. I'm working on my big business over here. I got these big projects. I got all these things happening over here. I got these things going over here. But if you went to Yapahusu's house and sat with him that night, he's over here. Because this over here is full of anxiety because the way he shows up to the world creates anxiety for him, which means he neglects this. But then when he's in public, he talks as if he's here. Then he starts to believe he's here. And then when an opportunity comes, we're getting back to the lesson, to test him, he's a no-show. He's an excuse animal. He's I'll let you go and handle that one. You see how this is a cold thing. Like, if somebody hasn't went through anything, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. You got to earn your right to be trusted in this game. And how do you earn your right? You got to go through some shit.
Period.
If you don't go through some shit, you're not trustworthy. You talking,
Period.
but all you're doing is just you shooting the shit. You selling false planes and false opportunities. You ain't got shit. And many people, y'all know in Oakland, and y'all know, and I know in some other big cities, that's a thing. People, oh yeah, I'm doing it. You go to a party like Fern. Fern has one of the dopest parties in the United States, not Oakland, United States. Some of those people in there that look like they're doing big things, that scenario I just told you is what's going on. And this is what it takes. So the reason I know this for sure, because I'm on the side where they come to me in privacy and show me their numbers and say, hey, I need to grow this, work on this, build this, market this, brand this. And I get a chance to say, you ain't got shit. But they're so caught up in the illusion that they're great because they announced it and then their friends reinforce their announcement. Their 5 employees, their 5 customers told them they're amazing too. They're 5. They need maybe 100 to stay alive, but their 5 customers told them they're amazing. So between the 5 customers, your friends, and your brain lying to you, you think you're doing big shit. But your bank account will remind you, you ain't shit. You ain't shit. You over here budgeting your ass off. Cancun is a motherfucking algebra equation on how to get there. If I put a little money over here, I divide this here, I cut this here, here, okay, I'm down to about $40 more. Okay, I'm gonna move this shit over here, and then shit. I go, But yeah, can we go by 6 months for now? Because I don't already calculate this shit out. By the way, let me tell you an announcement. We said this last year. Just kidding, remind me of this announcement. Discipline creates freedom. Discipline creates freedom. If you don't feel like you're free, check your discipline. Keep going, Shavisha.
As the Roman slave Publius Syrus once said, anyone can steer the ship when the sea is calm.
If you ain't tested yourself through some real adversity, mean okay. Let's say Shakira said I'm one of the best trainers in Oakland. Let's say she's selling. Well, she has a right to sell. Same the fuck. Like I just walked by pizza. I just walked by Round Table Pizza that says the royalty of pizza. And I looked at Danielle and started laughing. Say, they're a piece of royalty, huh? Piece of royalty. Some shit. Okay. But if it comes time for me to invest my money in you, you know I'm gonna measure how good you are? How have you dealt with competition? How have you dealt with adversity? What have you been through? I can say, I can validate you. Otherwise, I give shits less of what comes out your mouth. I don't care. You tell me I will say, everybody in this room tell me how great they are. You can even come in here with a PhD, and I'm like, oh, great, yeah, great. But I'm gonna look at you like, what have you been through? What kind of challenges have you faced? And two, I'm very clear on what that is. I'm gonna be side-eyeing you the whole fucking time. Because your greatness in a weaker environment still means you're weak. You're great, but you're great amongst weak people. If I really want to step up and be competitive, I can't fuck with you. I've seen people like, oh, I was killing in my last job. Your last job was trash. Don't mean shit to me. I sit there and smile. That's great. Yeah, that's great. You go, girl. Ah. In my head, I'm thinking, fuck what you talking about. Why? Because remember, you're in the game where you're growing, you're protecting your progress. You can't grow your business and not protect your progress. That's no one can walk up to me off the streets and tell me how great they are, and I'm gonna believe them. No one. Doesn't mean I won't be curious, but no one. Now, if your accomplishments and your battles come before you, you don't need to talk to me. I might approach you. But if you're like, yeah, I've done this and I've done this, I'm bald, I'm on top of this and this is it. There's people right now who are hella famous in Oakland, and y'all can't tell me what the fuck they've been through. And they get cash from governments. I've seen the city turn around, get these motherfuckers keys and cash and all kind of shit. I'm like, you're the dumbest motherfucking people I've ever seen in my life. This person ain't showing you nothing besides words. That's the real truth. Well, that's cool if dumbass people want to make those moves. But if you need to protect your investments, don't. That's a rule right there for yourself as well as the way you judge others. When you're out there doing business, go, what have they been through? Oh, yeah, we run this big investment firm. Oh, you know what? Tennille, we've seen your daughter, and I'm a psychologist at school, and I think you need to think about your parenting different. Oh, how many kids do you have, sweetheart? None? Okay. Show me the list of children that you've taken from K to 12 and they're performing at high levels, even psychologically. None. Then won't you to practice the art of shut the fuck up when you're talking to me? You think I'm lying? No. Ask my wife what I did when the psychologist came to me about my son. Bruh, who the fuck are you? What the fuck have you done? It's gonna make you sound like an asshole at first, but you're gonna realize you're gonna save so much. You'll get so much of your time back in your life. You're gonna save so much of your money. You're gonna make much better investments. And when you get caught up in this idea of listening to, because otherwise what you listen to is people press secretary. They ain't been through shit. They're selling to you the lie they tell themselves. Remember, press secretary lies to you to lie to me, right? So how do I avoid you lying to me? What the fuck have you done? I don't give a what title somebody's giving you. Well, I'm a doctor, this is the other. Oh, that's good. How many heart surgeries have you performed? 3. Okay, so let's get you out the way now. Let's call you a secretary. Who should I talk to? I don't give a fuck what you've done before. Real talk. If your money's on it. Now, if you're just trying to be nice at a bar and club, Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Wow, that's great. I do it all the time. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, wow. You never knew you've been to the moon by yourself. That's great. That's nice. 6'7", see Drew there in 6'7" though. That's amazing. I didn't know it can go that far. That's wow. All right, keep going. Next slide.
The path to being exceptional begins when you decide to be responsible for your actions no matter the situation.
We've been saying this shit for like 3 years now. Hopefully y'all getting how powerful this shit gets. When you really start taking if your job is to be able to take care of other adults, then all the shit you've been, think about this. Have you ever heard anybody tell you as a black person your job is to get older to take care of other adults?
No.
Then that means the story you've been living. Where did the story we got come from? Okay, I share a story he told before he changed it. I was told the same story. Get older, take care of your parents. You know what story I was revised with? Get older and take care of your grandchildren. You invest and you build your business for not your children. They should automatically benefit from your knowledge, your connection, your experiences, and a certain amount of your resources. But how do you benefit the children that come after that so you can help the group gain momentum? I just want y'all to pay attention to how we live under a slavery story that have all these stories that fell down that came from grandma that sounds really good, but ain't got shit to do with adulthood. Although you live amongst a man who takes care of you who has no relationship with you. When a white man decided not to kill you after slavery, he still designed systems for you, even though it wasn't his best. I mean, who would? But he still made sure you had an opportunity in this country. It might have been the lowest. It might have been like, hey, you just sweep the mud off my shoes. But the way we live today, if we were to flip that role, they'd die from starvation. Because most of us are just too worried about ourselves. We're having problems taking care of our own goddamn kids. Not alone the whole fucking city. And your enemies. You gotta be able to take care of your enemies. The people you don't like. The people you're like, I don't like these people. But you gotta take care of them. That's adulthood.
That's cold game.
That's adulthood. That's living God's life on this earth.
That's powerful.
Keep going.
Exceptional people know they can't change the hand they've been dealt.
You ain't worried about changing the hand you dealt. I'm proud to be black. I'm about to run this race. I'm a black man born in East Oakland, 65th MacArthur. Father's not from here. My mother was. I'm blacker than black. I'm riding. Let's go. I'm in comparison. Look, white folks, do your thing. Latinos, Asians, my Indian cousins, my Middle Eastern brothers, y'all do y'all thing. I ain't tripping. What you get is what you get. Ain't got shit to do with what I get. I'm playing my hand. I don't give a fuck where I came from. I came from 69 Ville. I don't give a fuck. That's the past. I'm looking forward. I just started at the lower part of the hill. Some plane flew you in. You started at the middle. A helicopter flew you in. Some people started at the top. But guess what? We all still got to climb. Matter of fact, if I catch you, when I do catch you, I'm greater than you because the shit I've been through made me stronger. I want y'all to play your fucking hand. Keep going.
And don't waste time wishing for a better one.
I wish I was this. I wish we. I'm living in East Oakland. How do we make East Oakland hella dope? I wish we would go back to the old days. I wish you did. Keep going.
They focus instead on how they're going to play the cards they have to achieve the best result.
Come
Come
on.
on, blood.
They don't hide behind others.
Come on, blood.
We don't hide behind who?
Others.
Come on.
What about that good old white man?
Wait. You,
Uncle Ruckus, what about that good old white man? Like, well, you don't hide behind others. What about, if my parents wouldn't have? What about, if society? Somebody say, society don't care about black people. I'm like, your society, right? Your society. Society's you. Okay, keep going.
the best people rise to the challenge, whatever it is.
Come on.
They choose to live up to their best self-image instead of surrendering to their defaults.
So real quick. If you accept the cards you dealt, how the fuck are you talking about your past about it's your limitation? You get where I'm going with this? If you play the cards you were dealt, doesn't that just destroy the whole conversation? Like, I came from, I didn't have, I didn't, no one cared about me. I didn't have any puppies. No one fucking cares. And you should need to play the cards you were dealt. You got an angle. Look, hip hop is an example of playing the card you were dealt. The poorest people from some of the poorest neighborhoods started an art that's worth billions. Mm-hmm. That's playing the card. They didn't say, you know what, we need to first go to the golf course and get accepted by Harvard and then work on our music. They took some raggedy ass tools, cheap as shit, and start and a microphone that was raggedy as fuck. You get shocked on the wrong day. They used to plug that shit to a light pole and get the party started. The shit took off, right? Play the card you are dealt. Keep going.
Come on, blood.
One of the most common mistakes people make is bargaining with how the world should work instead of accepting how it does work.
Once you learn how to play the cards you were dealt with, you learn how to play you learn how to deal with the light that exists. When you watch TV and social media all the time, you live in a curated world that's over safe, and we deal with I think they call it safism, where we just over focus on safety, right? You get to the point that you start saying the world should be like this. This is why when I watch politicians on NPRs or right-wing conservative shows complain, I just think they're retarded. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? He should act like this. You should say this. He should. What the fuck we doing here, y'all? What the fuck we doing? First of all, you argue about the president. Why are we not arguing about the mayor? I just want us to sit down like this is theatrical bullshit. Black people, and then black people, y'all be killing me. Ain't got no control of power and be up there arguing about shit. If you really want to be into politics, get some motherfucking power. Power has the dopest vote in politics. Mm-hmm. If Apple tomorrow says, I don't think that shit's fair, politicians be like, hey, can we meet with you? Come on to the White House. Let's talk about this real quick. You can take that same microphone when Steve Jobs, what's his name? What's the dude that's running Apple now?
Tim Cook.
So
Tim Cook leaves the microphone and he walks away after he says we got to do it. They pick up the phone, read that phone. They'd be like, can you come to the White House? He's like, all right, I'll fly out there. You grab the microphone, you be like, oh shit, you left the microphone me. Hey y'all, I don't think it's fair in the hood. And then motherfuckers start turning the cameras off. Oh, shut your ass up. We don't give a shit. You want white people to respect you in these surrounding communities. Do you want people who travel here to give you more respect? We got work to do.
Sure do.
If I look on camera and y'all got them nappy-headed lock brothers always with their handcuffs like, man, it's bullshit. Just kill this person. Just jack this person. Just stab this person. Just rob this person. By the way, we got more black people doing good than bad. And be very clear about that. But we have to protect our brand. And when somebody comes to this country, they're going to make decisions on brand. It's just what it is. Here's the thing. You do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Y'all think most white people are doing well, and most white people are not doing well. Y'all do the same thing. All human beings make this superficial form of judgment. So it is what it is. Not true. It's not to be fair. Of course, exceptions to rules. It's not necessarily true. But when things are happening, how do you see reality for what's really happening and then make moves accordingly? Like, I don't like social media. I think social media is a mob-based, it creates mob movements, right? But because it did, you needed to see it. Don't say, oh, it shouldn't exist. It does. So now how do you move with it, right? As opposed to like, it shouldn't be that way. Then you start moving in a way that's creating more friction and you're working against yourself. Keep going.
Anytime you find yourself or your colleagues complaining, that's not right, or that's not fair, or it shouldn't be that way.
Come on.
You're bargaining, not accepting. Mm-hmm. You want the world to work in a way that it doesn't.
By the way, I just want to say, what is right, Josiah just lost about 35 pounds, and that's not even a joke. Y'all should give that man applause. He actually went to sugar reduction. He's been eating well. He's been exercising. He's been training. Y'all see his shirt fit all loose and shit. I can't call him fat no more. This is a depressing day for me. Let's move on. I'm proud of that cat. Very, very proud of that brother. Go ahead. Keep going.
Failing to accept how the world really works puts your time and energy towards proving how right you are.
So say again. Failing to what?
Accept how the world really works.
Could that possibly be your ego? You see that again? When you fail to accept the way the world really works, it's ego over outcome. Say this again. It's ego. Okay. Maybe you didn't really hear me because maybe you don't know what ego means. It's me over outcome. It's narcissistic self-valuing what I feel over what actually works. If human beings move the way you move, we would have died a long time ago as a sapien. When men go to war, they're not at war because they want to be there. When somebody just told you, you better go to war, you're next. No, we lost about 2 million so far. We believe in you this time. If I kick it the way y'all act, man, I'm so AWOL, it's ridiculous. They have to shoot me while I'm running the other way. The reality is that in our human nature, we sacrifice for others. If you move this way, you're a horrible parent. You're so busy worrying about how you feel, you can't even see your child. I bet you one day if you just turn yourself off for one day, you realize, I never knew you lived here. This is real talk. This is some cold shit. How do you have employees if you can't get past this? How do you take care of people you don't like if you can't get past this? But what about me, Nana? What do I feel? I don't know how I feel. I feel like I'm betraying myself. I'm not true to myself. It's about me being true to me. I gotta speak my truth. Shut your ass up. Anyway, keep going.
When the desired results don't materialize, it's easy to blame blame circumstances or others. I call this the wrong side of right. You're focused on your ego, not the outcome.
There we go.
When things don't go the way you want it to. Okay, look. The episode is running his thing. Shakid is running his thing. Of course, running his thing. There's gonna be a lot of days you ain't gonna get what you want for what you want. You won't get what you want for what you really want. And you gotta be able to sit down and see it. Because otherwise, your temporary emotion will cause you to betray what you really want. Meaning that you will focus on a short game over the long game. You'll focus on that moment of emotion. Now, a person who focuses on material is focused on a short game. Anybody ever know, have you ever been, in the last year, raise your hands, in the last year or two, you got something you really wanted and within 3 weeks, it didn't matter as much anymore. Y'all know what that feels like? I really want this. And it's occupying your brain. I really, really want this. And you get it. And about 2 or 3 weeks in, your brain's almost already moved on to the next, I really want this. Mm-hmm. How do you get out of that blind loop and map where you want to go? That means you and I going to get shit you want. There's going to be times when I first started Fight Team Media, Mashama 8, I didn't. But I was playing the long game. I could have played the short game and pull some dollars here and there and try to manipulate. He was young at the time. The new Mashama, you can't manipulate shit. But the old Mashama, it would have been easy. Because he was naive to him. He had that brain power, but he just didn't know how things work yet, right? But I played the long game, and I gave up a lot of moments when I wanted some things to go certain ways. Made a lot of sacrifices. My daughter's in school right now. $3,000 a month for kindergarten. $3,000. I'm black. I'm not used to that. Came from a place where public schools was expensive. Okay? So I'm paying $3,000 a month. It's going to go up more and more and more. By the time she comes out of high school or by the time she comes out of college, I'll probably be past $1 million. Do I want to spend $1 million on that shit? No. What do I want to spend $1 million on? Y'all know me. cars, guns.
Beat
What?
sounds.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? 808s, baby. Yeah, what? Harleys. Can't. You said what?
Atlanta.
Hey, don't tell all the truth. She fuck around, I'll be residency. Nana lives next door to the club. Yeah, what's up, people? How y'all doing, man? I'm just gonna come to visit again. But anyway, no, seriously, back to my my clean stuff. But the reality is that I'm willing to make any sacrifices I have to, because what really makes me happy is my daughter's happiness. Be giving her more options in life gives me my deepest happiness, not me stunting in the moment. And I promise you, I know in our own community, a lot of people, and I've seen in other communities as well, a lot of people will focus on their stunning in the moment over their kids' optionality. I see it all the time. All the time. Motherfucker driving a Benz and their child's at Castlemont. How the fuck you driving a Benz your child at Castlemont? Unless you try and change your child how to be there's an early Navy SEAL training, there's no reason to be at Castlemont. Keep going, next slide. I'm just giving shit 100. That shit rough. Hey, come on, y'all know gunshots go down around that area. Come on now. You know goddamn well. Shit. Go ahead.
Solutions appear when you stop bargaining and start accepting the reality of the situation.
Okay, so everybody that's listening to my voice that hasn't turned off your TV because you're soft, and you still here because you want to get that business. The reason you're struggling on strategy, and you're struggling on what to do next in your business, and you're struggling on where to go next or what moves to make next, because this is it right here. I promise you, I've done this experiment with large groups of people where I got them to stop blaming, and all of a sudden they saw thousands of solutions, and they knew what to do next. As long as you blame, it feels like tomorrow is just a copy of yesterday, because that's literally you froze your brain and it's stuck in the former self. It's telling you that's all there is. The former self doesn't want you to release it. So solutions appear when you stop bargaining and start accepting reality for the situation. The reason I can sit there and watch, like Sebastian Junger, I love all of his books. He just wrote one on death. And I'm currently reading a book on death. His books are really grounded in reality, like really, really crisp, really rich reality. I don't like to play with fantasy land. Like I watch fantasy land sometimes to relief. Like it's like a vacation from all my really realistic thinking. But my brain can say, "Oh, that's fantasy land." But my realistic thinking, I constantly try to keep myself anchored in reality. So I can tell you somebody, because I know everybody in this room gonna die. There's certain problems you can tell me about that I won't have the same sensitivity as another person in this room, because I know you're gonna die. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I got this plan. This is going to disrupt my 100-year plan. Okay. I wish you stopped calling me. You're going to die. My mother just died at 99. It's hard for me to process it. That's good for you. She's building a relationship with death, which is going to help you make better decisions and have a greater purpose in life. Without a relationship with death, you have no purpose. When you develop a rich relationship with death, you will improve your purpose here. You understand how you're part of a cycle. The world wasn't built for you to show up and then it ends the day you die. You're part of a story or a cycle that you're participating that's greater than you. So now when you talk to me, I'm listening to you with those filters. I'm not listening with the filters of, oh, projection of what I feel, what you feel, because I feel what you feel, because I feel what you feel. It could happen to me, oh my God. I'm listening going, that shit don't matter. You know, the day I tried to get an award for writing the best paper, I didn't get it. I don't know what the fuck that means. Shit. Your child Castlemont still? Okay, I see where it's at. Keep going.
That's because focusing on the next move rather than how you got here in the first place opens you up to a lot of possibilities.
The next move. Think about what would a pro-black movement be like if we focused on the next move only? It wouldn't even sound the same, would it? Nothing would sound the same. All those little ritual ass parties where they playing the drums and Africa. It wouldn't be the same no more. Brothers and sisters. It won't be the same no more. Because we're talking about the future and possibilities and the responsibilities that go along with it and the thinking that's required to get there. Not, you know what Malcolm X said? You know, Marcus Garvey, he really, which by the way, Marcus Garvey, one of my favorite old leaders, because he spoke really futuristic. But, and so did Martin. Martin was a beast. In the core of a lot of pro-black movements is trying to get back to a right time. Am I right?
Right.
Am I right? Tell me if you think I'm wrong, please grab the microphone or have Shakina throw you one of her 4 microphones and you can just say it. Right? So, because this would be the right place for black people to be at. Where'd you get that reference to right from? Is it the past or is it the future? Now, is it a destination or is it a state? I would argue it's a state. To get to a certain state means that you just got to be at a certain level of momentum to weather the storms to be at a qualifiable state, not to be a leader, because leaders come and go all the time. But if you have a certain amount of momentum, so for example, America has a momentum, and the news will tell you, you know, Japan just created this. That's Japan, what's happening with their dollar now. Why is Japan one of the most popular places? Because the yen is going through some shit right now, right? England will pop for a second. What people are looking at is America has momentum. It's going to dip, it's going to rise, it's going to dip. But at the end of the day, over years, if you look at the 10 year, 20 years, it just did this, right? If you don't have momentum, you do this. So black folks in Oakland, we've been losing our momentum. And you say, these streets are so bad. That's because we have been neglecting the momentum for all these other distractions, and our youth are showing up in this space that hurts our feelings. These are still our babies. These are our babies in the streets. Castlemont, my greatest dream is to change Castlemont. Like before I leave this earth, that's one of my greatest goals, is try to change Castlemont and make it where our kids can walk through these neighborhoods and they get primed to be the best they can be in this world. Not I get them to the outcome. The outcome is not for me, it's for them to dictate. My job is to prep and prime for them to improve their outcome, not get them there. So when you go to a pro-black movement, they're not discussing the responsibilities of where we need to go and what it takes to get there and how they need to show up to that space. They're discussing fairness and rectifying the past. That's why you're still not moving forward. You're never going to move forward with that. That shit has been spoken since I've been remembering hearing pro-black talk since I was 6 years of age. This shit ain't moved. It's a backwards focus. You're walking forward looking backwards.
Hey, I remember when I was a teenager, the reason why I never joined pro-black movement is because when I was a teenager, I used to listen to KML, and on certain days it was something called Street Soldiers.
Oh, I remember.
And so when I was first like interested in wanting to be like, man, I'm black and what can I do? And that was my first intro into hearing it. And they talk about the same shit, no solution. Another night, same shit, no solution. 10 years later, 5 years later, same shit. And I'm like, this shit goes in circles and we ain't changed, we ain't done nothing. And this is a doctor. So if he's a doctor, then it ain't no hope then. And even though that's not true, it's just that movement is all just running in circles.
It's running in circles. That's all it's ever done. Momentum is, when you read that line, this is a pro-black, it's a pro-progressive movement. That's why social justice is taking cues from our dumbass movement, and they're doing the same dumbass shit. If you win Me Too, we say Me Too, what have you gotten different? If I call you they and I still treat you like shit, what have you changed? You still don't have no power to take care of your own, and you still have unequal education because we changed the school and make it diverse, but then the talent doesn't show up to create any advantages. What's the benefit? Right? Like, look at these moves, what they're asking for. I heard a Harvard professor say, if you get civil rights, you're still not finished. The other part of the journey, we have to own ourselves. And guess what? They disowned him for that. He does some cold shit. If you got Black Lives Matter, let's say the world says, okay, you know what? Black Lives Matter. We agree with it. Accept it. Law. What changed? We still got Castlemont, right? If not worse. Yeah, you're right, worse. Because the friction makes us better. Our greatest people will come from friction. Go ahead.
That just made me think about, so my daughter just finished going to the school that I went to 20 years ago. She just finished middle school. And back when I went to the middle school, it was Montera. It was like a school you had to be accepted into, you had to have extracurriculars, all this stuff, community service, the line. And over the last 20 years, the school has like greatly depreciated for so many reasons. And there was a conflict last year where she got aggressively beat up and by a young boy. And I was hot. I didn't have no rational bone in my body. But as I was trying to maintain rationality, the leadership of the school was falling into the space of, oh, well, we have to protect this young black boy because he has special needs and anger management. So we don't want to throw the book at him because we have to protect him. And it made me think about...
If that was in Zinga, I'd be beating his ass right now. No, first of all, I would beat his parents' ass and beat his ass.
Well,
Go
and
ahead.
the worst part is that he did this at 4 other schools, and they were just bouncing him
But
around.
that's yeah, I'm with you. That happens. That's happening in Oakland right now, even with crime. Like crime is, you got young males. Men know how to stop other men. We know how to do that shit.
So it just makes me think about like how much we are deteriorating because we refuse to do the hard things or have the hard conversations or take ownership. And it's crazy, you know? So yeah, it just made me think about that.
Hey, my mama used to have a saying, you might be crazy, but you ain't stupid.
Oh, that's why my daughter does martial arts now.
No, it's one of those things where like,
Do your karate.
all right, let's finish this. This will be our last slide for the night. Let's go finish it up.
Oh God. Okay. When you put outcome over ego, you get better results. You can't control everything, but you can control your response.
So stop. That's not as simple as it sounds. If you master the art of controlling your response, Pastor Chris called me this week and he's telling me about his wins. Pastor Chris had a list of wins. It looked like the scrolls that Moses had, all the wins he had. You know how he had all those wins? He controlled all his responses, and he made other choices that gave him positions of power. He repositioned. So, okay, this is a positioning statement. If you have your default response, you're going to have the default positioning time and time again. If you control your response, you can take even the worst situations and change your position and conquer. You could be wronged to death. I mean, the person could have wronged you to death, and you could change that position where that person will now feel reciprocity, and actually you'll win greater on the back end. Okay, let's say you did me really, really wrong, right? But you felt you were right. So I say, hey, listen. So my first response would be might be just come at you and blast, like, I'm gonna prove I'm right, you're wrong, right? Okay. And I'd be like, hey, that's cool, and I see what you think is right. And I may ask you a question that seems very passive and very, so you're like, oh, I didn't even see that. I got you now. Then you'll be like, well, can I give you something? Like, no, don't give me nothing. I just want to bring that to your attention. But guess what you are now? You're an agent of, I got to get that back to Nana somehow. It might be a contract. It might be one day I make a mistake and you be like, I caught you. Because, I remember that time I did something bad against you. Right? But I positioned you, because I'm not going to win or lose anything from that. It happens to me all the time in business, all the time. Like even when I went to negotiate my car, by the way, I got the dopest deal in the world. I got a $117,000 car. So my last lease was $1,250. I got a luxury car that's $117,000. My lease is now $981 a month and no money down. And Let me tell you the story real briefly. I'm going to show you how I used it. So I go to get an X7, because I drive a BMW X7. I was going to get a new one, a sport version. And the market fell, the used car market, so the residual is higher now. So they were like, and the interest rates went up. So everything's different, right? So they wanted me to pay an extra $150, $160 a month, $150 a month, and then give them a $6,000 down payment for another X7. So I'm negotiating my ass. I'm like, I'm pushing deals against other deals. Like, yo, what's up, bro? Plus, I know the market is also collapsing. The used car market falls first. I'm assuming that the new market is going to fall second. It's going to happen a little slow. I figure it'll fall by December. My car didn't have to be turned in to December, so I decided that my negotiation now, get in their heads, put one dealer against the other dealer. As the market shifts, it gives me a little more leverage. I'm gonna use my leverage to my end. I'm gonna get my payments down to maybe $100 more a month, and I get more features. So then, I love the BMW i7. It's one of my favorite cars. That shit is just sexy. It's i7. If you've ever seen a Rolls Royce, you type in a Rolls Royce and then type in BMW i7. It's almost the same body. By the way, BMW owns Rolls Royce. And this car drives better than a Rolls Royce, by the way. That's of course by me, but also by critics. Amazing car, all electric. So I walk by the car, I was like, "Oh, I really like that car." That car was, compared to my old, the X7 I just gave up, it was $30,000 more than that, and it was $20,000 more than the X7 I was negotiating for, right? I said, I really like that car. And they said, man, Payout, her name was, from Fremont. If you ever buy a car, BMW, go to Fremont BMW, because they're a volume seller. They don't make their money from individual cars, they make their money from volume. So you get better deals. So BMW gave me 14 grand discount on the car because of loyalty as a lease owner, and then because I used BMW to finance, it gave me another $9,000, right? The dealership gave me 20 grand off. She said, she came back with the paperwork, said, if we just switch keys, no money down, first month payment included, taxes, license included, next month you pay us $981 a month. So I went from 15 grand for a car, 30 grand less, from putting down 6 grand and almost $1,400 a month to putting down no money, first payment made, and only paying $981 a month and 3 years of free charging. Fremont BMW Payout. If you go, just remember PayPal, just take the other P out. Payout. Indian woman had my motherfucking back. So let me tell you how the deal went crazy. So watch this, where the deal comes in. So when they first came to me, the payment was $891, right? Then he's like, "Oh shoot, we made a mistake, sir. It's actually $1,066." In my brain, I'm thinking, I don't give a fuck, right? But I didn't play my emotions. Or no, I didn't say like, "But you promised." I'm like, silence. Silence is a hell of a negotiation tool. He goes, but what I can do is I can give you $3,000 more, which makes it even $20,000 off, and I get you to $981. Hopefully you won't walk away. And I was like, yeah, I can work with that. In my head, I'm thinking, I went outside and called Court. I think they must have made a mistake or something. This is ridiculous. I'm about to get this car for this price, right? But what I'm saying is that in that moment, I didn't trigger a response. The silence was, let's time it. Let's see if we can play with this. Because I'm so into I try to remove myself, disconnect for moments, and watch myself in this space and go, what's the best move to make here would just change everything? And quite often, the default response gives you the default outcome. If you can change the default response to something that triggers a different outcome, you'll be surprised how you can start turning a lot of situations in your life another direction. I do this shit all the time. I do it. I'm in negotiation when I'm talking to people. When people ask me to do something right away, I will use a pause in how fast I respond to them to control the outcome.
You said you change your default response to change the outcome?
Yes. I will even sometimes, a client say, I need you to do this right away. I say, okay, how about next week? I did it on purpose. I'm thinking about every move I'm making, where when If you're not emotional and you say, oh, somebody wants to do business with me, it's a good contract, okay, can we do it tomorrow? And then you don't realize they got you. You know why? They see your urgency. That's negotiation power on their behalf. That's no power. They realize I'm the big dog. I level the playing field by saying, hey, how about next week? Which says, I'm so busy, right? It's a subtle thing I'm doing in the brain. I'm so busy that this is going to be a partnership between the two of us. Now my negotiation, what I asked for, totally changes. And if I totally go to the client and say, hey, listen, I see your budget. This happens all the time. So your budget is $110,000. I don't see how this can be done under 200. Okay, let's see what we can do. But I primed all that by changing my default responses up to that point. Where if I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, whatever you say, yeah, sure. They would say to me like, well, I mean, I see 200, but that's what we got. If you don't want it, just let me know. They got me. Because I primed that response by the way I responded to everything else. So every interaction I have with people, I'm priming everybody around me. Even when you see me in public, I don't show up in public and just be me. I'm never really me. Because none of this wildcat. I'm a wildcat. If y'all knew me in my 20s, y'all be like, how the fuck that dude became that dude? Deep down inside, I can go to the Atlanta side. But I'm not. Why? Because I have things bigger than me and I live for things greater than me. I don't live for me. That's what he was talking about earlier. If I live for me, it just, man, hey. Y'all don't, look, some of y'all be mad at me now. I'm saying, okay? But I'm living for something greater than me. I live just as moral as Pastor Chris is living. I live almost not as, he's way above me, but I'm pretty damn close. And the reason for that is because I'm living for others, for things that are greater than me, because I'm going to die. I'm not going to be here forever. So living selfishly is an empty life. I don't want an empty life. I want a valuable life. And you know what gives me value? Serving others makes life, you cannot be happy without serving others. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. You're chasing drug hits. You're not chasing deep down happiness. And so when I wake up in the morning, I'm working to serve others every fucking day. And when I see changes, I see people growing, I see impact. There's conversations I've had with people in this room that almost made me cry. They just put joy. I've given him calls in the middle of the week like, yo, bruh, this happened, that happened. The joy comes from watching y'all grow more than I'm growing for myself. Yes, I get pleasure from growing. Don't ain't nobody that weird. I get pleasure from growing, but my deep pleasure is from giving. Let's finish this up.
Each response has an impact on the future, taking you either a step closer to or a step further from the outcomes you want and the person you want to be.
And I'm slowing this down because I want you to hear that phrase. Each response, there's no such thing as an innocent response. There's no such thing. We are so linear, which you're going to learn about. I'm going to teach you really about linear in a minute. We're so linear when we look at life. We think, I did this or this happened. The reason this happened because this happened. Those are straight lines, right? Really, life is a combination of a whole bunch of complex intersections of things happening. A whole bunch. So every decision you make moves you either further or closer to where you want to go. Not one, not two, not three, every fucking decision you make. Every decision. Okay. If you was running a marketing company, have you guys ever worked with a major, have you ever had an interaction with a major marketing company before, like a major corporation or their marketing department? Have you ever tried to move their logo or change a word or change a color? They won't even let you, if it's supposed to be a 1/4 inch from the top of the paper and a 1/16 of an inch to the right of the paper, and you shift it anywhere outside of that, you're gonna get a phone call like, take that down, reprint everything, I don't give a fuck how much it costs you. Am I lying? Why are they playing that game that serious? They realize every interaction matters. Consistency matters. You do not have a brand if you're all over your emotional place. Well, you do have a brand. You crazy. You out of control. You're immature. You weak. You fragile. You're not a leader. You're not a leader. You just delusional person who thinks they're a leader who's nothing but a follower. Right? if you want to be anything, create anything, and grow anything, consistency of how you show up matters. And the part of the game is, okay, you want to lose some weight. Say, hey, I want to get ready for a 60-year-old competition. I see some women hit 60 and kill it. I know right now, she went to competition 60 and maybe start to reconsider what I thought was fine. Ask her, does she get to like play around with that space and do some things serious and some things don't, and be inconsistent and kind of work out hard here some days and don't work out hard here, or move outside of her intent and don't have a clear plan. And that's where was she standing in her competition. Your impulsive, okay, when you were kids, like most people in this class, and we have some young people, you got shit to work on. I get it. You're just part of being an adult. Being adult is controlling your responses and being able to own those responses. Slow your responses. And one of the ways you can do that, slow the fuck down. And don't let yourself get caught by inertia. And you say, what do you mean? I walk in the room, and I'm like, oh, man, we have it. Oh, you little bitch. What'd you just say? I'm sorry, but I was just caught up in the moment. No. Or, oh, man, this is heck of whatever, shut up. Yo, what's wrong with that dude? You gotta be able to laugh. And somebody tell a joke to you, like, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Okay, cool. Just come off that. Hey, brother, what does that mean? You don't have to ruin the moment, but you don't let the inertia go. Or let me do it better yet. This is what most of us are familiar with. Mama home, she had a bad day. You know she will whoop us if this ain't right. Or she gonna cuss us out, or she ain't gonna act the same. Because she had a bad day. You might give a fuck about your bad day. That's inertia. I mean, you take the negative inertia, and then now you're projecting on how you justifying how you show them to all these other things in your life. You had a rough day at the office. Your daughter comes up to the office and it's 5 o'clock and she runs up, Daddy, hey baby. Your lover comes up to you, hey baby, hey, what's up? Hey, I'm having a rough day, but you know, I'm gonna work on this real quick. Good to see you. I'm so grateful that you are by my side. You know, having a rough day just reminds me the value you have in my life. But I'm gonna get back in his office and go and whoop his ass. See the difference? You don't start connecting shit from here to here, and this connects this, and I'm going through this, and this, and this, the other. My wife, when she first got with me, she used to hit me with that period shit. I didn't play that shit. I'm sorry, I'm that kind of man. I'm going through my menstrual. That's why I'm going. I said, whoa. You can feel that way, but watch how the fuck you talk to me. Because in the end, I feel some kind of ways. And I will never excuse that to the way I talk to you. That respect thing is required. Otherwise, if that stereotype is true right now, then if I say women are not qualified in this position because of their period, you just justify that by fuck that reverse statement. I believe that you can go into an office and be on your menstrual and make the best fucking decision in the world and run the fuck out of that company. That means you can go ahead and come walk in this motherfucking house and run the fuck out of this company.
That's right.
I'm that man. I'm not that soft man like, I'm gonna negotiate with my sin. No, I'm that dude like, what the fuck you think you're talking to? The reality is that we're grown folks here. Now, if she was 20, 21, I get it. Hey, you just was 18 the other day. You still dealing with all them goddamn emotions. Right? I mean, when I was 20, 21, don't ask me for no deep shit. To me, like, you catch me on a wrong emotional day, I don't know who in the fuck you gonna talk to. When I hit about 32, 31 as a man, now y'all might hit it, women might hit it 23, 24. I don't know, some of y'all mature as fuck at 16. When I hit 32, I realized my emotions was not a justification. Your emotions are not. Black people, your emotions are not. I don't give a fuck if you met Trump tomorrow and he walked in this room, you start with a cordial conversation. How you doing? You become curious, not judgmental. You don't try to have a gotcha moment like you Bill Maher or some bullshit. Why? Because that ain't your game. You want to say, what can I extract from this man's experience that can benefit me? And move the fuck on. Sitting there like, I saw Trump today, I told him off. You the dumbest ass I ever seen in my life. There's always anybody that wants your presence. Your job is to explore the moment. If who's somebody I don't like? I'm not crazy about. No, I dislike you, Josh, but you okay.
Umar Johnson.
Woo! Okay, if Umar Johnson came in the room, I was gonna walk out. I'm not gonna even say his ego is just too big for. Look, his ego is like the sun itself. He will burn you out. He'll burn the conversation out the room. And he'll say shit 3 times over and over and over. To the point like, dude, you ain't got past the third sentence. This has been 2 hours. So no, Umar Johnson, I would walk out the room. But if Umar Johnson was capable of speaking, I think I would explore questions just to see where he's coming from to try to find out what's his incentive. Because if I can unlock his incentives, then maybe I can figure out how to find somebody that has his power and curb it towards enhancing our community. That's how we do it. With that being said, I still love the cat. I just don't want to fuck with him. But I still love him, and because as black folks, it's like I'm not trying to love perfection. I'm just trying to love us. Because I'm not perfect at all. And once I start loving perfection, that means I'm being uncomfortable with my imperfections. And gosh, I'm imperfect. Oh, motherfucker, I'm imperfect. You should see my imperfect diary. That shit's so thick that telephone company told me, can they just use the paper? So anyway, with that being said, as they say in Sweden, we need some color around here. Take care.